indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening and welcome to the August 12th, 2025 regular meeting of Jackson Township Council. Pursuant to the provisions of New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, adequate notice of this meeting was properly provided by transmitting the notice of this meeting on January 28th, 2025 for publication. Notice of this meeting of the Township Council has been posted in the corridor of the municipal building and the office of the municipal clerk. We will begin with roll call. Councilman Borelli.
Here.
Councilman Bressi.
Here.
Councilman Palmieri.
Present.
Council Vice President Bernstein.
Here.
Council President Kuhn.
Here.
Also present this evening is Township Administrator Mr. Phillips, Township Attorney Mr. Dasty, and myself, Deputy Clerk Jen Corelli. We'll start with opening comments from Council. Council President.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk. So tonight, I just wanted to, sorry, I've got a little bit of a cough. Wanted to thank our business administrator, our new one, immensely for the department monthly reports. So it was 157 pages. It's all 13, I believe, of our departments broken down. This is the first month that we've gotten them. We spoke about them, and we were told from administration that we would start getting them. We just got our first one, and I just want to highlight why council is so excited that we can work and have transparency between administration and council is the numbers that we've been requesting via emails and dozens and multiples and daily is now probably going to stop, because we're not going to have to ask our engineer if he can go ahead and weekly give us updates, because we're going to get them monthly. And the breakdowns that we get is so transparent and gives you so much clarity to where we know exactly what our building department's doing, how many inspections are going on, electrical, fire, mechanical, plumbing, from the breakdown to literally how many have passed, failed, sent out again. That's all we were looking for. And it really is a pleasure. So for somebody that likes numbers to go and look. And for, the big thing that's going on is landlord registration. I've been asking many times, how many do we have? So last year we had over 3,000. I just got the current number sent to me. We're down to 1,866. So with the council's new ordinance that we put in place in 2024, in January we collected in 2024 $36,550. In 2025 we collected $112,130. Year to date, and then we're halfway through the year, we've collected $349,000. Last year, in the whole year, we collected $353,000 from landlords. That is a great accomplishment, and that's the transparency that this council was just looking for. So thank you again. And thank you to the department heads for giving the information to the business administrator, so giving us so much clarity. Again, we had calls we got from animal control. Now we get to see that animal control after hours had 31 appointments in a month. That's a lot. So we didn't realize that. That gives clarity to why our animal control guy absolutely should be taking a car home. He's going out to a call every single day in a month, right? So he should have a vehicle. He should have his own vehicle. Finance department, she wanted to give kudos. Thank you to, she found unfound money of $6,500 just applying to the state of New Jersey. That's a great thing. We had 2 promotions. We had Ashley, that's been with the township for over 10 years, get promoted to assistant municipal treasury. We had Virginia get promoted to payroll clerk. We have Caroline that used to be in the clerk's office that now is in financing, that is enrolled in her continuing education. These are people that want to stay employed with Jackson Township. Now we get to see it. So we get to see and get a little bit more insight on our employees. And I think that is, extremely important for council to see. Our engineers report, this one literally is so informative. And I'm not saying that because he's sitting in front of us with his great team, but just the drainage improvements, the road improvements, the municipal aid that we're getting, other roads, Bethel Church, Muse, Pitney Lane, Hurley Road, I apologize, Johnson Park, which we're going to get into, the improvements that we've done and the applications that we've done. Now we have Green Acres here, and we've actually, which I've gotten an email today, and Charles is going to go into it a little bit more, that we are actually able to get Green Acres money because the improvements that our engineers and the projects that have not been addressed in over a decade are now getting applications put in, and we just got that information within 24 hours. So thank you. Again, we have Bartley Road sidewalks and we have stormwater infrastructure, which is a problem right now, and we're all aware of it. Just another highlight I just want to give in our police department. So our police department, last year had in their budget for some improvements, but it was not quads. So our quads came that we have new quads that let's say, the 4 new quads have been ordered to replace the approximately 20-year-old ones, and they were purchased with Jobs of Blue, Jobs for Blue, I believe it said. So that is contractors that hire our police department that work outside of their regular hours, and they collect the money, it goes into an account, and they can use that money. And also administration, I believe we get $23 per hour. I could be wrong, give or take about that, but we also get money. But anyway, it goes into an account and they can utilize that money to upgrade their equipment instead of coming to the taxpayers and putting it in their budget. A little bit of a disappointment I have to add is that as of July, the department has incurred $538,584 in overtime costs, which has to be addressed with our chief. So we will be looking into that, but I would have never known that. So that's something that says, hey, that's a red flag. We can meet with the business administrator, sit down with our chief of police, and identify what is the problem that we're already halfway in and paying almost $550,000 in overtime. IT, looking into upgrading. If everybody knows, we had our email down, right? We had no email for the township. This township had no email for 4 days. So we've met and they've worked together, and now we've upgraded our system. So hopefully that'll never happen again. SDL, which we've talked about this council for over 12 months, have talked about letting the residents get their questions answered by going to on their phones and being able to look up and identify a property that might be next to them. Is it registered as a landlord? Is there any violations? Is there anything that's outstanding? So there's quite a few things. That is about it for me, but I just wanted to kind of update you because I read that whole 157-page packet, and it was really something that I wanted to bring to the residents because it's a lot of things that we've been questioning, and council was extremely, extremely grateful that, our questions were answered and that our concerns were heard. And so our attorney, which nobody's got to Oprah it. So our attorney is going to requesting that the administration please put that on the township website so that the residents can all have the same information that the council has for transparency. So you guys will get it. Enjoy the reading. Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Council Vice President Bernstein.
Thank you, Clerk. Again, a special thank you to our Deputy Clerk, who has really just been putting in all those extra hours while our clerk is still out. Thank you very much. A special thank you to Charles from TNM and his entire team. It's a different driving down Pitney Lane now. It's almost impossible to speed. We appreciate it. I know the residents in Jackson appreciate it, and thank you for your hard work and dedication and not giving up on that. Thank you. A special thank you to our police department and our everyone who was involved with setting up for our night out against crime. It was a great turnout. It was great to see everyone there. And then the last thing is thank you, Council President, for sitting and serving on the County Open Space Committee. We got a couple of different ideas that we're currently looking into, and I don't think they're all going to pan out, but we're definitely trying to move some of those purchases forward, either by ourselves or together with the county. So we look forward to hopefully sharing more exciting news in the future. Have a good night.
Councilman Borelli.
Thank you. I just experienced it tonight there, and I want to thank Director Candido and your staff for posting it on your police department website that there is the county, and thank you to Ocean County as well. There's a current flashing. There's a traffic signal at the intersection of Butterfly Road and Bennett's Mills Road as well. And that's due to the abundance of traffic, according to the police department's Facebook page, as a result of the Cedar Swamp Road closure there. So also, the last show of Jackson Summer Concert Series will be held in Johnson Memorial Park on next Thursday, August 21st, between 6:30 and 8 p.m. Living Proof Band will be performing. Please bring your own lawn chair. A food truck or food trucks will be there on site. Our town will also be sponsoring an adult outdoor yoga clinic in Johnson Memorial Park this Friday, August 15th, between 9 and 10:30 a.m. Please bring your own yoga mat. The cost is $25. You can register to participate in this clinic at https://secure.rec1.com, or it's probably just easier to call the Jackson Rec Department if you want more additional information on how to register for that clinic at 732-928-1200 at extension 1258 or 1260. And the new pickleball court is open from dusk to dawn in Wood Lane Park in one of our many township parks. It's located at 75 Forest Drive in Jackson. And in closing, our annual Jackson Day is coming up on Sunday, September 14th in our town's largest park, Johnson Memorial Park, from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The rain date is Sunday, September 21st, hoping we will not need the rain date. And we have absolutely beautiful weather as we did last year, and are expecting a huge turnout like we had last year, which we had over 11,000 people attend that event last year, and are expecting even a bigger turnout this year with much to do, from an ATV riding park for kids, an American flag parachute jump, a monster truck, the King of Roller Coasters, King the car photo op will be there, a drone show, and more will be included in this year's event. If you'd like to register to be a vendor and or a sponsor for this year's Jackson Day event on September 14th, please reach out as soon as possible to Anthony Horta in the Jackson Recreation Department at ahorta@jacksontwpnj.net, or call the rec department at 732-928-1200 extension 1258, or you can email the rec staff at recreation@jacksontwpnj.net. Continue enjoying the summer, Jackson, and good seeing a really pretty good turnout tonight, especially for the summer, and have a safe drive home. Take care now. Thank you.
Councilman Bressi.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out this evening. It's nice to see a decent crowd here. You heard a lot of positive stuff just now. A lot was put out on the table. Got to kind of absorb it all and see that everything is being worked on and trying to do the best for the town from all of us. I do want to take time out, though, to congratulate the Holbrook All-Star team for winning the state championship. They went up to Connecticut, and they did a good job. I'm proud of them, and they should be very, very proud of what they did. Thank you for coming out tonight, and have a safe trip home.
Councilman Palmieri.
Thank you. Just like to thank everybody who came out tonight and those who are watching this via live stream. I just have one quick public service announcement that the Jackson Township First Aid Squad is partnering with New Jersey Blood Services for a community blood drive on Monday, August 18th from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. at 38 East Veterans Highway. Your donation can actually really save lives. So if you can, please donate your blood. Appointments are encouraged. Walk-ins are welcome. If you'd like more details, you could visit nybc.org/drive, or you could visit my Facebook or Instagram page where you'll find this flyer and a convenient QR code to schedule your appointment. So I hope you consider it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next item for tonight's meeting is an update from the Department of Public Works from Mr. Sean Belinsky. Council President Kuhn.
Yes. We are currently continuing our response to sinkholes and other storm-related issues. Maya? Sorry. We are currently continuing our response to sinkholes and other storm-related issues caused by the heavy rainfall over the past few weeks. We appreciate everyone's patience during this process, and we want to assure the community that we are actively addressing these concerns. As you can see, at this time, At this time, our emergency contractor is working on multiple sites around the town that are beyond the scope of DPW's in-house capacity. As you can see, we are receiving tremendous feedback from the residents regarding the speed tables installed on Pitney Lane. I wanted to take a moment to share that success. The positive response has been encouraging and is a testament to the hard work our engineer team has done. Thank you, T&M. We also want to thank administration and council for its continued support on the critical infrastructure projects. And that is a couple notes that our DPW department received from residents and kids in the community. So, thank you.
Next item tonight is a presentation from our township engineer, Mr. Cunliffe, for a public scoping hearing.
Before we go to that, I just have to read something into the record. It's a purchase order for the bill list, bills and claims. It was taken off at the bills for, last time for $51,409. because it was for additional monies for the pickleball court, and I didn't understand. I wanted more clarity from our CFO as to why we were getting another bill when we had already paid $140,000. She had told me that this was just another installment. It was the last installment. So after looking into that, if I could get a motion to add it to the bills and claims to be paid at this meeting?
I'll make a motion to include it by the bills and claims.
Second,
Roll call?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressy?
yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Already passed.
Charles?
Good evening, Council. Tonight I'm here with my colleague, Ms. Erica Niclicki and Ms. Melissa Barnes. We're giving what's called a public scoping hearing. There's two park facilities in Jackson Township, the Jackson Mills Soccer Complex, where the compost facility is located, and also Camp Joy. Both of those properties were purchased with Green Acres money to fund parkland development. At some point in time, the compost facility was moved to the Jackson Mills site. Whenever the township takes money from Green Acres, it puts an encumbrance on the property to be used for in perpetuity for parkland, recreation, open space, and the like. When you introduce a use that's not parkland or open space, it's what's called a diversion of parkland. So this hearing is the first step in the process of the township trying to get the major diversion for the compost facility to remain at Jackson Mills, and also for some improvements that were constructed with Crawford Rodriguez Elementary School in the mid-2000s to remain partially onto the township's Camp Joy property. Anyone, members of the public here, you're probably here because you've seen one of the white large signs that have been posted outside either of those sites. If you're a resident within 200 feet, you probably also received a public notice in the mail, and that's why you may be here. If you're a member of one of the committees, recreation, shade tree, you probably also received that notice. So we've received calls, administration's received calls. I just want to put it on the record. The soccer fields at the compost fields, at Jackson Mills, they're not going anywhere. This is just to legalize the compost facility to stay on that parcel, and same thing for Crawford Rodriguez. If you're an adjoining property, you're not in danger of losing any part of your property or anything like that. It's just to legalize these improvements, which have been there for a significant amount of time to remain there. Can you go to the next slide?
And Mr. Conlon, maybe just to put the mic up a little bit.
Apologize.
I just want to make sure that's,
Slower?
So, Mr. Cunliffe, I think if I could just reiterate, I think what the
Maybe give him
resident is
a
asking,
microphone.
what the resident is asking was, what she heard, is if you could explain in more layman term, what is happening exactly to the properties?
So the properties are encumbered by Green Acres. That's
yeah. Thank
the
you.
properties, and we'll get into more details. There's going to be an extensive presentation. There's more than one slide. This is just the introduction to it. The properties, once the township receives grant money from DEP to through Green Acres to purchase a property for parkland or open space, it puts an encumbrance on that property in perpetuity. So if the township at some point in time later wants to introduce some non-recreation or open space use, a compost facility, if they wanted to have a private entity operate a business out of that property, that would be what's called a diversion of parkland. And this is the first step in that process. It's a public scoping hearing. We're giving all the background on why we're here and how we got here. And the purpose of it is, the theme tonight is transparency. Present this to the public, get comments, questions. We have a court reporter here that's going to take meeting transcripts for this. And that all becomes part of the record. So that way we're hopefully addressing any concerns and questions of the public as part of this process. Christian, if you can go to the next slide.
Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Barnes, and hopefully I can put your mind at ease a little bit more with giving you some background and definitions. So to start, what is Green Acres? In its simplest form, the Green Acres program was created to meet New Jersey's growing recreation and conservation needs. Green Acres is committed to preserving New Jersey's natural, historic, and cultural heritage. Now, what is a ROSI? R-O-S-I, and what does it mean in relation to our project? The ROSI is a recreational and open space inventory. It is a list of properties that a municipality in New Jersey maintains for recreation and conservation purposes. Parcels on the ROSI are encumbered by New Jersey Green Acres program. Essentially, if a parcel is within the ROSI. It's a record of lands that have been acquired or developed with Green Acres funding or that are held for recreation and conservation purposes and have Green Acres restrictions placed upon them. So both of the areas tonight that we're talking about are encumbered by Green Acres, as Charlie has said. What exactly does it mean to be encumbered by Green Acres? To be encumbered by Green Acres means that the land has restrictions put in place by Green Acres to protect its public recreation and conservation purpose. These restrictions may require approval from Green Acres before land use changes, development, or sale. Being encumbered by Green Acres means that it establishes a legal claim to ensure the land remains suitable for its protected uses. Next slide, please. Thank you. So once again, I would like to present some definitions. What exactly is a diversion? A diversion is a state legal process to remove Green Acres encumbrance from land and allow it to be used or developed for something other than recreation and conservation purposes. A scoping hearing is what we're at right now currently. A scoping hearing is a public meeting held to gather input on a proposed project, particularly when it involves the disposal or diversion of parkland. The purpose of this scoping hearing is to accept public comment on major diversions. Any comments tonight are very welcome, and any comments related to the use of the diverted lands are welcomed. I would just like to reiterate that Jackson Township is proposing to legalize a past diversion, also referred to as an after-the-fact diversion.
All right, so the first site is the Jackson Mills Compost Facility. It's at 334 Jackson Mills Road. You can see in the red boundary, that's the actual entire tract, block 2201, lot 2. The area that's actually subject to the diversion is that area in purple. Anyone that's been to the compost facility site will be very familiar with that facility. Just some brief history. In 2008, the township received Green Acres funds to purchase the property and develop it as a soccer complex. At some point thereafter, between 2008 and 2009, the township moved a compost facility to that site. Around that time, they received a temporary use permit from Green Acres to allow that to stay there. At the time, it was only 2 acres. Fast forward 15 years later, or plus than that, it's now over 8 acres. And if you go to the next slide, Christian. Thank you. So this is just a zoomed in view. So that area in purple, that's the compost facility that we're seeking to get the diversion. So it's just to allow this facility to remain on the site.
Just a quick question, just to make in layman's terms. So we had permission from Green Acres to do 2 acres for compost, and somehow it expanded to 8.
It was, at the time, it was a temporary approval to operate for 2 years with the understanding that the
It was gonna
township
be
was going
moved.
to go through the diversion process at that time. In the interim, the site expanded. You know, there's a need for bulk waste to, create compost, and the site grew.
But let's just,
So
we
after,
got here because nothing was done about it after when,
Yeah. So
I mean, I know
We're
we
not
don't want
looking
to say
throw
that,
anyone under
but
the bus, but yeah.
we're not, it was a whole different, I'm just saying, that's like the truth.
yeah, so there's history. This goes back
Yes.
to 2008 or 2025, so 17 years ago. I will say the Green Acres process to go through the diversion, it's not a simple process. It's complicated. The township has gone through this initial public
This is our third
scoping
time.
hearing. Yeah,
Yeah.
they went and had this, I want to say in 2012. As we go through the presentation, when you do a diversion, you have to compensate DEP with
Mhm.
compensation land. You have to give them what you took from them, basically, right? The township went through the process of submitting 2 compensation parcels in the past to DEP in 2014 and 2018. It fell through for various reasons, so this is the third shot at the apple here. The second site is Camp Joy. In the late 1990s, 1998, the town and the Board of Ed actually did a land swap. The town gave part of Camp Joy to the Board of Ed to build Crawford Rodriguez Elementary School, and then the Board of Ed gave the town some contiguous land, to expand the park. At some time in the mid-2000s, when the site was actually built, a small gravel driveway and a 3-tiered retaining wall, which is shown in the area red, and it'll be shown closer up in the next view, was actually built onto the township's property. In addition, when they do the diversion, it gets approved by the State House Commission, and there's a file map, right? Anything that's not shown on that file map at that time, like if it comes up at a later point, you have to divert for it. So the area in blue, the map at the time only showed the county having a certain right of way. At some point later, It was found to be greater, so now we have to compensate for them for 4.5 feet of right of way on South New Prospect Road. So this county, if they ever want to widen the roadway, they can do that. So Christian, the next slide. So the area in red, like I said, this is where the retaining wall and the gravel driveway is. If you go to the next slide, actually have some pictures of that. If you could go to the next slide. There you go. Yeah, so you can see the gravel driveway, and then on the lower right-hand corner, those are the retaining walls that we were talking about. So these have been there since 2004. All we're just trying to do is legalize these to remain there. Next slide, Christian, please. So as I said, and I mentioned a little bit a couple slides ago, as part of the diversion process, you have to compensate DEP for the land that you've taken from them. So that has 3 prongs. You need to compensate them on a land area ratio. So for Camp Joy and the compost facility, the totality of that is 8.61 acres. DEP requires the land value compensation at a 5-to-1 ratio. So we need to find parcels or a single parcel that's a minimum of 43 acres. In addition to that, you also have to meet a 1-to-1 land appraisal value. And that's highest and best use, both of the diverted parcel and then also the compensation parcel. And then they have another one, because DEP loves to have all these stipulations.
I just want to go, it just hit on the value. So in today's market, if we had to pay them back, we're looking at about $10 million.
So
that's why we're going through this.
yeah, so appraisal is just a snapshot in time, right? So the last time an appraisal was done on the diverted land was in 2018. At that time, the 2 subject areas were appraised at $365,000. You know, everyone knows since COVID and things have kind of gone crazy, it could be double the price when we go get the appraisal for those properties now. If we were not able to find a suitable compensation parcel to replace them at the 5-to-1 area and the 1-to-1 appraisal, the town Green Acres does allow the option to do a monetary compensation, but
That's not monetary.
No,
It's a lot of money.
No,
Yeah.
it's 10-to-1. It's
Yeah.
a significant. So
Yeah.
the township should make every effort to not
That's
go
where
that
the
route.
importance of this is, why we're here.
Yep, exactly.
So as part of the Green Acres major diversion process, there has to be a compelling public need. Now, since this is an after the fact, I would just like to state that the public benefits from the ongoing operation of the Jackson Mills compost facility and the Camp Joy property, which is now Crawford Rodriguez Elementary School. Both properties have been beneficially used by the public. To start, the compost facility serves the residents of Jackson Township by providing a free public facility dedicated to the composting of organic materials. The facility yields an inherent benefit to the township and its residents as it provides a local, cost-effective, sustainable solution to disposing of organic waste. For the Camp Joy property, that area that Charlie showed earlier in the red outline serves the residents of Jackson Township by providing a critical infrastructure, a school, which is the Crawford Rodriguez Elementary School, which has been in operation since 2001, and with increasing population within the township, the school is essential to the community. Now, under Green Acres major diversion, you also have to analyze alternatives. I would like to state that because this is an after-the-fact diversion, there are no alternatives to the proposed diversion because the 2 sites have existing facilities on them and have been in operation for years. Shutting either facility down would be at the detriment of the public, specifically the Jackson residents. However, we have looked at different alternatives to compensation for these 2 facilities. For the Jackson Mills Road compost facility, we have analyzed relocating the existing compost facility to a new site within the township. We have also looked at relocating the existing compost facility to a proposed replacement land. Both of these options are extremely costly and would have environmental impacts. Discontinuing the existing use of the compost facility would be at the detriment of the township, and a third-party organization would be needed for the removal of organic waste. For the Camp Joy land swap, removing all of the improvements from this area, including the retaining wall that was shown on the previous slide and the gravel roadway, would decrease safety and sediment and erosion control and soil elements. Having a no-build alternative is not plausible, as both of these are an after the fact, and the no-action alternative would not address the township's need to legalize both of these diversion areas. As stated previously, comments on any suggested methods or compensation parcels would be greatly appreciated, and all public comments are welcome.
I'm sorry, Christian, you're on the wrong slide. Can you just go to the next slide? I think you're going the wrong way. Yeah. There you go. Thank you. That's the slide. I'm sorry. I didn't want to interrupt her, but that was the slide that I knew you were, I didn't want to, I was going to run over there, but I apologize. That was the slide she just went over.
All right, so this is the potential compensation parcel that we're looking at. This is, we'll call it the Don Connor property. It's just the area in red here. It's bounded by, I believe, West Veterans Highway to the left and Don Connor Boulevard to the right. Christian, if you can go to the next slide. So as part of this, we've already had a preliminary meeting with Green Acres to kind of show them the parcel that we're looking at. Anytime you're giving a parcel to Green Acres, it has to have, not virtually entirely free of encumbrances as far as wetlands or riparians, but like it's in the township's best interest to find a piece of property that doesn't have riparian and wetlands, because that'll increase the land value and hopefully be a suitable candidate for Green Acres. So what you see in here is basically the area in blue is the unencumbered area of this parcel. Big things that might jump out at you right now is the total land area is 400 and almost 2 acres. That's much greater than the 43 acres that we're required to compensate them for. One big component is this parcel is located in the Pinelands. So when you do highest and best use of properties in the Pinelands, that plays into the consideration of what you can actually build on that property. One thing that we would look at if this is furthered and this is the property that the township offers up is, if we only need to give them 100 acres to meet the compensation requirement, potentially the town could do a technical subdivision and only give them what's needed to satisfy that requirement. But that's steps down the line. If you can go to the next slide, Christian. Yeah.
So now I would like to talk a little bit about the schedule and timeline of the whole Green Acres major diversion process, which is an extremely lengthy process. To start, in the year 2025, and in this moment, we are conducting this public meeting and will address any public comments. That would be at the top yellow rectangular box of this overall timeline. So we are at the very early stages. Next, after this meeting and addressing all public comments, we will prepare a pre-application package and coordinate all documentation with the NJDEP Green Acres program. This will take approximately 3 months, roughly. Upon approval of the pre-application package, the final application package will be prepared and submitted to the Green Acres program. Included in this effort will be another public hearing that was mentioned previously before. And also in this meeting, there will be a lot more information included. Appraisals are included, environmental due diligence is included, and that will be approximately in 6 to 8 months' time towards the ending of this. Oop, if you could go back, please. That second public hearing, so we're in the yellow box now. The second public hearing will be all the way down in the second yellow box at the bottom there. The final thing that we would be waiting on is the State House Commission decision. The State House Commission does not meet every month. It's usually bi-monthly, so we anticipate another 1 to 2 months for approval from them. In total, we are hoping within a year's time to get the approval from the State House Commission and technically be finalized and complete.
All right, and Christian, if you go to the next slide, and I just want to sum it up with 2 more points that I think are important for this. So when the township purchased the property on Jackson Mills to build a soccer field back in 2008, they received a grant from Green Acres for $487,500. Jackson Township has not to this day received any of that money from Green Acres. That's been held by them because of this lingering matter. In earlier correspondence with Green Acres earlier in this year, they indicated to Jackson Township administration that if they continue to make progress on this, hit the milestones, the public scoping hearing, the pre-application, sorry, what's the next one? Final application, final hearing, there's a lot of steps here. They will release portions of that money portions of those monies commensurate with the township's progress. So by completing this, we will reach out to Green Acres and ask for that initial $121,875 disbursement of that grant money that was due to the township back in 2008. So as long as the township keeps continuing making progress, we can get that money. And then also, as far as future Green Acres applications for park development, Jake's Law for ADA park playground improvements, they have also indicated as long as Jackson Township continues to make progress with this, they will be considered for future grant applications for Green Acres. So
So I just want to hit on a couple things, because we've been working on this, Councilman Bernstein, myself, Sean from DPW, and you. I've been to your office to look through properties because it's this council's passion to clean up the problem from 2008. So we have found out a way to go through resolutions to get this process going. In speaking, I understand that originally the $500,000 that you were talking about was bonded because we didn't get the grant. And we actually paid off that bond, obviously, by now. And then that money is still, they anticipated having the grant come in. They didn't get it, so they bonded it, and then they did this. Now, I just want to make sure we have clarity in regards to Camp Joy. You have people from the Recreation Committee here. I'm on the Recreation Committee. We have met with you at this camp, and we want to put improvements into this park. What is that going to do with this application? Is it going to hinder effect? Is it going to be a positive impact on, since we are making large improvements? We're anticipating making large improvements to Camp Joy. Is there anything that you can answer on that?
So any continued use and expansion of a park for recreation, open space activities, like, will not create any additional issues with Green Acres as long as we're compliant with any other outside, approvals, stormwater and things like that.
Okay.
So, and then I just want to to state it again. So the township, this does go back to 2008. They have made efforts to try to resolve this. It's just, it's an onerous process. When you get grant money from the state and nothing has no strings attached to it, you got to read the very
Fine
fine
lines.
print details. And, unfortunately, this is one of those things that if you don't see that fine details can come back to nip you in the butt. So.
But
this
we are
is-
in a positive, they are
No,
actually, we
absolutely.
just got the email, so I called you
Yeah,
before
no,
we came and
this-
said, is this email true that we're actually going to start being able to put back into Green App, because we're moving forwards and
No,
making efforts?
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I just want to make sure the residents
So-
understand why we're doing all this,
Mm-hmm.
that it's for the future of the town.
So if I could just ask, it's one thing I'm just trying to understand. It sounds like the town tried this twice in the past. I don't know if you were here. I wasn't. What went wrong that we should not avoid that again, because we're putting all this time and effort and the value is only going to go up. So
Yeah, so things that can trip you up is the township's Rossi had some period of time where it might not have been currently up to date. So if the township went down the path of trying to find compensation parcels and you go and do title searches and then you find that you 25, 30 years ago used open space funds or borrowed money from the county through an open space funds to purchase that property, that would place it on the Rossi. And unless you went down that path to do deed searches and titles, you wouldn't necessarily know that. The last go around was in 2018. There was parcels off of Bennett's Mills Road, I think just southwest of Butterfly Road. It met the area requirement. It met the compensation value, but there was also a quality requirement. So at the compost facility at Camp Joy, those properties are what, layman's term, high and dry. There's no encumbrances, no wetlands. So when you give them a piece of property, you can't give them a landlocked hill in the center of a site that's surrounded by a moat of wetlands, right? It has to have quality to Green Acres for you to be able to give it to them and to them to accept it. So that's why it stalled the last time around.
So if I could just paraphrase, I think if Council President and Mr. Phillips continue doing the great work they're doing, updating the Rossi and everything like that, then we should be finally in the green.
Yes, and I would just say that the Don Connor parcel, like, fingers crossed, it's not listed on our Rossi, but we're going to go down that path. Green Acres is going to ask for the appraisals. They're going to ask for title search. If there's something in a deed from 40 years ago and some fine print, like it, hopefully that's not there, but that's always a possibility with these. And
Is there any way to be proactive and maybe just do a title search now?
that's certainly something that we can explore with the township attorney's office.
Yeah, that's, listen,
Yeah.
let's be
And-
proactive.
And this is absolutely the property, right? When we go through this whole process, if we find one of these encumbrances, we might have to look at other properties.
Okay.
Ideally, Green Acres wants one large parcel or contiguous properties. We could also give them a handful of properties throughout town, but they want to have them contiguous because, they serve a common use and, common locality.
So we'll get that. We'll get
And
that.
I guess my last question is if we could just get updates. I know recently we applied, I think your office was involved, obviously, with the Jake's grant law grant, and we unfortunately lost out on close to $1 million of grants. I guess as soon as we get some clarity and we're able to start green lighting some of this, if you can let the governing body know so we can
That'll be in our monthly reports.
Yes, so, and I think Council President Kuhn referred to it, so I did reach out to our contact at Green Acres, and they indicated in an email that as long as we continue to make progress, they're going to lift that restriction on the township
'cause we
being
would-
considered for Green Acres' future
Right.
funding.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have the email if you want.
And if any members of the public or have any questions or comments, we're open to that.
So we'll open it up to public comments. You have to,
You have to,
you have to come up and just give your name and put it on the record. She's going to keep record of it. Ma'am, because we have to be compliant. I apologize.
My question is, what were they planning on doing with the parcel of land that's over there on Don Connor Boulevard?
I'm sorry, ma'am. She has to have your name for the record.
Oh, Nadine Schaefer.
yes, so we'd essentially be giving that parcel or a portion of that parcel to Green Acres, and it would be encumbered and it would be owned by Green Acres. So the area of the compost that we took and utilized it for a non-recreation and open space use, we're giving them either the entirety of Don Connor parcel or a portion of that parcel to compensate them for that loss of parkland.
Okay, and basically they would then keep it as no buildings, they wouldn't be putting up apartment buildings over there or anything like that? It would be just like all open space, or just keep it like,
Correct. The purpose of the Green Acres program is for recreation open space, so I think it would be quite disingenuous for them to take a property and then give it to someone else to build housing or something else. So,
Thank you, ma'am.
There's another resident there, I think.
Ma'am, if you could just come up. She just needs your name for the record. Thank you.
Susan Jessen. We spoke on the phone about 2 weeks ago from the administrator's office, and I just want to be clear. The area, the area by the composting center, there is no plan to take any of the houses in that vicinity via the much talked about recently eminent domain, not necessarily here, but in other places, because they're talking about land swaps and compensation. I just wanted to be clear.
For this piece of property, for the compost facility to remain where it is, it's not anticipated at this point in time to take any property around this to compensate for that. We presented the Don Connor parcel is what's the compensation parcel. As part of the diversion process, no one's losing land around it, and the park isn't getting smaller. We're just trying to legalize for the compost facility to stay where it is.
Thank you, ma'am. Behind you.
Gentleman behind you.
Ed Gooley, 89 North New Prospect Road, right next to Camp Joy. I want to thank the council and members for your time and due diligence, keeping things moving.
Thank you.
Everything's great. Thank you and your team for your time. Just to be very clear, nothing's going to happen to land that exists as Green Acres now. Right? Okay, cool. The other question is, property that we're diverting to, is that property that the township, the members or the residents of the town, have we been paying tax on that property all these years?
No, it's property owned by Jackson Township. It's a publicly
It's owned by the
owned.
township, so they
But aren't we partially paying in our taxes for maintenance and all this for all the property in Jackson?
Any open space in Jackson, we don't pay property
We don't
taxes.
pay
We
property
maintain our
taxes.
DPW.
Even maintenance?
Our DPW will check if something goes wrong, but most of them are forested.
Okay, cool.
Thank
for
you.
your time.
You're going to present the Don Connor property.
We hope.
Should we also have backups just in case so we don't hold up the process? Sorry. We're going to present the Don Connor, you're going to present the Don Connor property, right, to the state? Or are we going to have backup properties just in case so we don't hold up the process, say if that falls through?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question. So up until a week ago, we had a second parcel on Freehold Road that the town purchased from Board of Ed, a group of parcels off of Porter Road. It's a paper right-of-way that we were also looking into. As part, as I said, doing title search and looking at deeds, if it was used for open space monies or anything like that, that would encumber it. So we were looking at those properties as a backup, but we talked with the CFO and open space monies were used for those properties. So it would appear they're not
It's hard.
eligible.
It's a hard process.
Mr. Conliffe, one,
Mr. Connell, I would suggest you not do that, because if the DEP sees it, they'll want them both. They'll want both parcels.
Yeah, so the intent would be to approach them at one property at a time. It's not to approach them with multiple properties. But
Thank you.
One more-
Taking Mr. Dasty.
If I could ask
Yeah,
one more quick
absolutely.
question. If the DEP and the Green Acres grants what we're requesting, could a future governing body come along and take the compost property and do something else, or take, let's say, Don Connor, if we get it and do something else, or once this is done, this is,
So as long as the compost facility stays within the footprint of what was approved as far as the major diversion, it can stay there in perpetuity. Now, if it were to expand and double in size again, then we'd be
We have a
back at
problem.
square one.
Yeah,
and-
no, we don't
Yep.
want to do that.
okay. I think there's a gentleman behind you
Yep.
who's coming up.
Hi, I'm Paul. I'm from West Commodore Boulevard. Now, would you ever consider acquiring wetlands?
So as part of the process.
Well, you got to, like,
Yeah, so can you hear me? Yeah, so as part of the process, like I said, you have to do some environmental due diligence. Part of the evaluation of a property from a land value perspective is the development potential of it.
Right.
If you have a property that's entirely encumbered by wetlands or riparian, it's not going to rate high and the appraisal value is
Right.
probably not going to meet the level of what would be a suitable compensation.
well, that's the
parcel.
answer I was hoping for. There's no sense in spending money to buy wetlands that are not developable. You want to go for the property that can be developed. Now, I want to say that anytime you preserve land in Jackson, it's a huge upgrade to your town. It's a permanent upgrade, and it can never be taken away from the town. Now, when I moved here from Millstone, and I was involved in the Millstone government, we had a developer as a part of our approval give us 10 acres. And then we leased that property to the Little League, and they made a beautiful complex out of that. You don't have to buy the property outright. You can buy the development rights. We bought that huge equine farm. It was beautiful. We didn't want to see, even if it's 2 or 3 acres, we don't want to see McMansions on it. So we bought the development rights. And forever from now on, they keep their property, but they can't develop it. And they're happy to do that. So there's so many good ways to take developable property away from the developers. As you know, I'm anti-development. I'm totally anti-high density. But I want to tell you, you could have a really beautiful town here. And you can be a rural, residential, beautiful town. So if the more we can get off the books and onto permanent preservation, the better this town will be.
Thank you, sir. Rivera. Revere.
Anyone else?
See.
Oh,
All right. Thank you. So I just wanted to get the whole story straight, right? So the Green Acres.
Sir,
your name, please.
Name.
Oh, Carlos Martins, Jackson, New Jersey.
Thank you.
So the Green Acres program is the state New Jersey program, right?
Correct.
Okay. And so when we say we're going to give it to them, so today we have 8 acres that are labeled Green Acres, but we're not using it that way, the compost and the others. So we need to compensate them for that, right? And you're telling me that the way the formula works is the 8 acres that we today are not using as Green Acres when we should, we have to give them 46 additional acres to compensate for those 8 because that's the way they are, right?
Correct. It's a
Okay.
5-to-1 land area.
5-to-1 because they rule the world, right? In New Jersey. So those 46 acres, or now we give it, when we say we give it to them, so do they actually own the property and they can do anything they want with it, or they have to actually, whatever Green Acres program says you're allowed to do with it, right? Which in theory is recreation and other things like that. That's the only thing they can do with it. But they do own it. So the state does own that park, that area, correct?
Correct. That's my understanding, is that when you give the property to the Green Acres program, it is owned by the state of New Jersey and it's restricted to conservation and open space purposes.
Right. That's my only thing that I want to be sure that we're not giving it to New Jersey State, which they can do anything they want with it. We're giving it to this Green Acres
Yeah.
program, which is very specific. We want to keep it open, nice, pretty. Nobody develops any houses in it, nothing like that.
Yeah. So if you went and did a
Is that
property,
guaranteed?
if you went and did a tax record search on the property after the fact, it would probably list it as the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. And then if you went to the deed, you would see that it was given to them, as part of this.
It's purple
different-
on the
As
map.
part of that, they have to keep those rules. They can't later decide, okay, we're gonna sell it to somebody and they're gonna develop it. No.
That's my understanding. Correct.
Okay. At any future date, can we get confirmation of that? Because you say it's your understanding.
it'll
That
go
leaves
on-
me a little
so-
iffy, you know.
I'll have my environmental folks who have done a couple of these.
It goes on the Rossi, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Either way, it will never be developed. I'm not sure if the state, if the the Green Acres will put it in their name, or it'll stay in the township name
Right.
and go on the Rossi, which means it can never be developed.
Never be developed. Okay.
One way or the other.
Okay, that sounds good. I mean, I don't like the fact that we got to give up 46 acres, but when we
Mr.
say give up,
No, Mr. Dasty has been doing this much longer than me, so
He
I
said it
certainly
can't, it
defer to his
cannot be
expertise.
developed.
it cannot be developed. That's the
Not.
key. Even though, yeah, I mean, obviously, 46 acres versus 8 doesn't sound right, but the fact that it's not going to be developed, I think we're all happy about that. And yeah, we shouldn't have done what we did, but it's too bad. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. Cunliffe, are there any properties in our town that you can point to that are under state of New Jersey DEP Green Acres ownership? That maybe you can,
So I can
Elaborate
answer
on
that
for the-
for you. So when I went to the Ocean County Land Trust, they sent me the link. So at the next council meeting, I'd be more than happy to put the link on, and it shows you, that's how I knew it was purple. I know the county is a different color, Jackson Township's another color in the state. So I could put the link on there and we can go and we can see throughout our town how much is actually preserved, that I think we really don't realize how much is preserved through the state, the county, and the township.
so residents can see that it's owned.
Yeah,
and
I'd
not-
be more than
can't
happy
built
to.
on.
Christian, I will send that to you for the next
Thank
meeting.
you.
Thank you.
Seeing no one come forward, make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion. Roll call.
Mr. Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressy?
Yes,
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Great.
At this time, I'm going to call for a 2-minute break so that everybody can, if that need, pardon? Yeah, warm up. If that's okay with council, we'll just 2 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Next
you.
item on the agenda are ordinances. We have second reading and public hearing for ordinance 2025-26 that was introduced on 7/22/2025. Ordinance 2025-26 is amending and supplementing Chapter 103 entitled Vehicle and Traffic, Article 14, Schedules for Piccadilly Drive. At this time, if any member of the public has any comments to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once. May I have a motion to open public comment?
Motion to open public comment?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Just please state your name. Thank you. And your address if you want. Otherwise, you could say Jackson Township.
Is it on?
It's on.
Yes.
Lisa Holman, Farmingdale Road. I don't want to be that person, but I'm here tonight still speaking about huge concern that affects all Jackson Township residents. Our town council has.
Ma'am, it has to only be on the ordinance that's we're talking about
I
for the
thought we were
second
doing
reading.
the open.
It's
whatever.
not
I'm
open
talking
comment.
about
At the end.
No,
environment
ma'am,
again.
that'll come back at the end.
All right, I'll come back at the end.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing no one come forward on this ordinance, close public comment?
All in-
Motion.
Yep.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? No, great. May I have a motion to adopt 2025-26?
So moved.
Second?
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressi?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Yes. Sir, please don't, I'm sorry, you're here? Sir, that's not public comment. If you were here from the beginning of the meeting instead of walking in an hour after it, you would have known that we're in the middle of reading first readings for ordinances. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item of business is the first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-27, providing for various general capital improvements. Council President, any comments for ordinance 2025-27?
Yes, ma'am. The Township of Jackson wishes to undertake general capital improvements to acquire and install radios and capital equipment for the police department, purchase of the passenger bus for senior citizens, and various other improvements included but not limited to Bartley Road infrastructure improvements, police department parking lots improvements, Johnson Dog Park improvements, and lighting improvements at various township parks and recreation facilities. With total, it will be $415,793.25.
Thank you. May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-27 on first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of the public hearing to be held on August 26, 2025?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressi?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Next item of business is the first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-28, amending and supplementing Chapter 103 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, Article 14, Schedules for Basso Street. Council President Kuhn, any comments for ordinance 2025-28?
Yes, Madam Clerk. This would be no parking, stopping, or standing in order to add the following roadway to Schedule 1A Basso Street, which shall allow to be located on the east side along the entire block of 23001 and Lot 15 for a distance of 266 feet. Again, it would be no parking, stopping, or standing.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-28 on first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of the public hearing to be held on August 26, 2025?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressi?
Yes, but I want to make a statement on this. This was something that was picked up at the planning board level, and there was a stipulation by the applicant that they had to abide by that.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn?
Yes, and I hope they pick up a lot more because there's nothing like the no parking being done and installed by somebody else besides our DPW. So thank you, Planning Board.
Next item of business is our first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-29, amending Chapter 244 Land Use and Development Regulations of the Township Code of Jackson, State of New Jersey, to establish an inclusionary zone district entitled AH4, providing affordable housing units to be developed subject to certain conditions and requirements. Council President Kuhn, are there any comments for ordinance 2025-29?
Yes, my comments are going to be for ordinance 2025-29, ordinance 2025-30, and ordinance 2025-31, as they are all affordable housing. Chapter 244 entitled Land Use and Development Regulations to create new overlay zoning district entitled AH4 under section 63-4. The purpose is to provide the development of affordable housing for low and moderate income housing in a suitable location. The ordinance will include a table showing the property to which AH4 districts shall be applied to show on the tax map of Jackson. The ordinance shall describe the permit, principal, and accessory using of the building structure's density, area, yard, and building minimum requirements, affordable housing requirements, site plan requirements, off-street parking requirements, signage, trash, and loading. Fences and walls shall be provided in accordance with section 244-190. Landscaping and buffering shall be provided in accordance with section 244-193.
May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-29 on first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of the public hearing to be held on August 26, 2025?
Motion?
Second,
Councilman Borelli?
I just received these 3 ordinances a few days ago that will create affordable housing zones in certain areas of our town. I need time to digest and review them, to visit the areas of our town that will be affected in the future by this. I feel like with these ordinances, we are spot zoning. I want to hear from residents, as these are major zoning changes we are considering making that could very well change the suburban character of Jackson and place a huge burden on our taxes, township services, and infrastructure. Worst mention of the buffer and infrastructure improvements that will be made to accommodate the additional housing. There are unknowns at this point, so I'm voting no, as I don't know enough to make an informed decision. We talk about traffic in our town at almost every council meeting, and how do we deal with it, and why are we adding to it with these ordinances? We can barely keep up with what we have currently going on in our town now. So I vote no on ordinance 29-25, 30-2025, and 31-2025. Thank you.
Councilman Bressi?
yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
Next item of business is first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-30, amending Chapter 244, Land Use and Development Regulations of the Code of Township of Jackson, County of Ocean, State of New Jersey, to establish inclusionary zone district entitled AH2, providing affordable housing units to be developed subject to certain conditions and requirements. Council President Kuhn, any comments for 2025-30?
I read all of my comments, ma'am.
And we may have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-30 on first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of public hearing to be held on August 26, 2025.
So moved,
Second?
Councilman Borelli?
No.
Councilman Bressi?
yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn.
I just have a comment myself to make. So the Chairwoman Campbell, as well as her committee of the master plan. So this is part of the master plan and some of the stuff that are coming through that hasn't been done since 2008, which is a state regulated, I believe, that we have to do as a town. She worked on this for 18 months. She put her heart and soul into trying to do what's best for the town, creating recreation, creating things in this smart development. We had asked for no parking. There's anything, there's things that she put on this. This team worked for 18 months on this. It wasn't just done overnight. So I just wanted to put that on the record, as some of us are saying yes, because none of us has really read it. We just got it. We all just got it. And that's a very accurate statement. And I appreciate that you saying that, because now it's first introduction. So now we have 2 weeks to go ahead and do our due diligence and bring up any questions that we do have to our planning board. Because again, we all just received them, not just you, believe me. And we talked about that this morning. So I appreciate it. I'm going to vote yes, because I believe that this is something that we have to do. Otherwise we can get our town into trouble. And plus I want to review it and do my due diligence and ask my questions. So I'm going to vote yes.
Next item of business is first reading and introduction of ordinance 2025-31, amending the Township Code of the Township of Jackson so as to amend and supplement Chapter 244 entitled Land Use Regulations, so as to amend 244-19 entitled RG3 Regional Growth Zone. May I have a motion to approve ordinance 2025-31 on first reading and introduction to authorize the notice of public hearing to be held on August 26, 2025?
Motion?
Second,
And Councilman Brelli?
No.
Councilman Bressy?
yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
I would just like to say, I know one of the concerns was, will the residents have an opportunity to speak on this, which they will in 2 weeks. Of course, I want to hear your concerns. But secondly, as Council President Kuhn was stating, these affordable housing was dictated to us by the state. We have to build these over the course of the next 10 years per the state. So if we could change what the state's guidelines are, I'm sure we would have no problem fixing this. But if not, this is what the state wants. So they overruled the municipality. Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes, and I just want to add also, so I actually sat on the planning board, and the planning board had multiple hearings where residents had many opportunities to come and give their comments and thoughts. Again, Dr. Campbell, our planning board chairwoman, put her, and really Ms. DiMarzo, put their life and soul into these ordinances and to these master plan. The affordable housing settlement was actually signed by Mayor Reyna after tough negotiations with the state. He got a lot lower number than Jackson has historically ever gotten. And if anyone, when residents actually read through the ordinances, they're going to see there's certain stipulations and conditions that are in here that are historic. Jackson has never had in any of the developments ever in Jackson 10% of a development being required to be open space. Jackson has never ever had a ordinance requiring that every development has multiple entrances in order to enable our safety apparatuses to get in there safely, something that comes up by our planning board and zoning board multiple times. Jackson has never had adequate parking in some of its ordinances in the past. If you read through some of these ordinances, there's going to be guest parking spread out throughout the developments. There's going to be requirements for multiple spots on people's driveways, so this way residents do not need to park on the grass, and other such requirements. So I welcome everyone to read through them, and I welcome everyone to come back to by the next meeting. If we're going to pretend like we can always fight the state, we wish we could, but the mayor and the council, the past council and the current council made a decision to negotiate with the state, and this is us fulfilling our obligation. Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Thank you. Next item of business is payment and authorization of bills and claims. I'd like to note the following abstentions. Abstentions include Councilman Borelli for AET 01, DEL 01, NJD 04, NJM 06, NJS 04, RUT 04, STA 28, STA 76, TRE 08, TRE 26, and TRE 34. Also, Council President Kuhn for RCS 02. Any comments or questions for council?
Do we have any residents, council president, who want to pull anything out from consent agenda? Oh, this is bills and claims. Sorry.
Claims.
My bad.
That's usually my mistake.
Yeah.
Council President?
No.
May I have a motion to approve bills and claims with the following abstentions noted?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
With the exception of those abstentions, yes to the rest on there. Thank you.
Councilman Bressy?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn?
Yes.
Great.
At this time, is there anything that council would like, or anybody would like to pull from the consent agenda for council to discuss separately?
Just consent agenda.
Just consent agenda.
I'd ask for it. I gotta do it. I would ask that you pull Resolution 259, 2025, and 260, 2025, to have a little bit further discussion. My primary reason on 259 is that there is a $545,000 bringing the money back. I just would like to understand why whatever that money was associated for was not completed, and we have not heard anything from you guys on that. 260, I think I know the answers, but I'd love to hear some comments from us. Thank you.
Be more than happy to explain 259. So this was, in essence, so this is actually a great one. Oh, yeah, it's polled. Yeah, of course, we're polling 259 and 260. So I'd be more than happy, and actually I'm very extremely proud to answer the 259 resolution that's being polled. So in the due diligence, which I've spoke about multiple times, we met with our auditor, our CFO, Councilman Bernstein, myself, there was about 6 people. Our business administrator wasn't here yet, our CFO, our interim CFO, and I pulled all of the funded ordinances, and these were capital improvements or bond ordinances for capital improvements. And it was all money that was left over. And I found, first of all, it was 1.4. After all the departments, we gave them back to the departments and said, hey, listen, if there's anything that you guys want to put into your department, we have the money there. It's sitting readily available to utilize. So what we did was we got $689,793.25 that came back. We gave one more shot. And I believe for the police is taking 225,000, I believe for vests. No, for radios. Okay. And then DPW took some. We got a new bus for senior citizens. Then we went and we have $150,000 being allocated to the dog park. We have money being allocated, which we read earlier, all of the different options that they were going to do. So that's where the money is being utilized, and that's what we're voting on. The next one is 260. It's not open to the public. I don't know what else I can answer for that. That's why you have to cancel it before you create new bond ordinances to reutilize the money. So the new ordinance is on the agenda. 260 is a emergency temporary appropriation, number 7. Thank you. Anybody else has anything to say?
May I have a motion to authorize consent agenda with the removed resolutions noted, 256 through 267, 2025?
Motion?
Clerk, Council President, what about the zoning board appointment? Are we holding off on?
It's not on the
It's not
agenda.
on, okay. I just have it on mine, that's all.
You don't have your updated agenda. It's in your box.
Okay, all right. I knew there was, or maybe not, but I just wanted to make sure for the purpose of the public that it was still maybe
The
not on.
public is aware. I've spoken with her.
Okay, thank
She's in the back.
Thank you.
Hope Drew. Thank you. She's
Oh,
well
okay.
aware.
Oh, okay.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes, to the, everything but except
Correct.
those 2 ordinances.
Got it.
Thanks.
Councilman Bressy?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
I did have a slight concern with Resolution 267-2025. This one is for Magic Touch Construction. It looks like the initial project for the senior center was approved for $207,000.
Yes.
We already did one change order previously and awarded an increase of $35,000 that I guess we weren't aware of that was needed for that project.
Correct.
But now this is the second change order, and we're increasing it another $4,300. It's increased in total by 19% this project. And I'm just looking at some of what the descriptions are of this change order. And one item says, the following change order is to return the delivered specified fridge and exchange it for a new model. And that's over $2,000. Was it a broken fridge? If so, why are we paying for it again?
So I can actually answer this one because I questioned it the last time that we had the from it. And it's coming from the senior center and the it requests that is coming from there. So they did a walkthrough and they found, sometimes when you do construction, if anybody does construction, the last one, there's things behind the walls that you don't find. This one, that wasn't the right fridge that they had wanted. So they are
Who
asking.
approved for the initial fridge? They didn't know this fridge was being provided, the initial fridge?
What do you mean, who approved it?
So there was a fridge delivered.
Oh, it was approved in the contract. They're just, when it was coming, they wanted to make a change out.
And that's costing the taxpayers $2,200.
Correct. It's our senior center. I
Okay.
know. The whole project is to redo the senior center.
Yeah, I know. It definitely
And-
needed to be redone. I agreed with the 207,000. I agree with the initial.
So we do
provision.
have on the ordinance that's on there, with the money is allocated for the senior center. So we could take that money away from, towards, the bus and put it towards the fridge. I mean, that's something we'd
I
have to look
just
at
don't
with the
know.
CFO.
I'm just hopeful there's not a third revision and change order.
Did you
again.
want to remove it? Because we can remove it and we can speak with the CFO and then.
Yeah, I think if the fridge was initially approved and all this other stuff was approved and now it's
So you would have
just
to
changing
make
it.
a motion to remove it. We can
Okay.
vote on it.
So I'd like to motion to remove resolution 267-2025.
So if I could just, Council President, if I could just ask a quick question. Where is the fridge holding right now? Like, where is it? Is it here?
I'm not,
Is it
that's not my
here?
department. That would be a DPW and he is not here. So unless, Business Administrator, do you know anything about this fridge?
I do know that it was just, when it came, it wasn't spec'd right, so they needed to update it. I haven't seen it, it was before my time, but I do know that it was just the spec that was wrong. So when we got it, the person that ordered it originally should have spec'd a different spec.
So that
it
would
was
be on
our
the
mistake?
contractor. It would
was
be on the
our
contract.
mistake? Like, we made the mistake?
We asked for the wrong spec.
Oh, well, then
Okay.
we did.
If we made the mistake, that's different. If it's just being sent back, I just think,
We as in
we
our
need to make sure
department
that
made
we're
the
not
mistake?
making these mistakes. It's costing thousands of dollars.
Whoever spec'd that room out to have it, 'cause there's a stove, there's all sorts of accessories for the seniors. And the refrigerator was wrong when it got here.
So, you know what, I take back moving it, removing that resolution. I will have no problem leaving it, but moving forward, just to be on, to be on the record, any additional funding, we would need to really,
I'm going to look into that because I don't know why DPW would be specking out a renovation of the senior center and the contractor wouldn't. It doesn't make sense.
Somebody else might be wrong.
Yeah, it's happened. I mean, it's happened in our recreation as well. Okay.
So you canceled your,
yeah, I mean, they need a refrigerator. We
Yeah.
now want to put our seniors in a position to not have
That's
a
what I was-
refrigerator. So
I
for
know.
the sake of getting this done for our senior citizens, which I believe they deserve this, I'll table that initial request. However, I want us to be mindful that if we see something like this again, either Magic Touch or someone needs to answer to why they're misappropriating taxpayer funds.
Good.
Council Vice President Bernstein
yes.
and Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
At this time, if any member of the public has any comment to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address.
Don't we have to vote on the two resolutions that were
pulled.
pulled?
Oh, I apologize. That's my fault. May I have a motion to vote on Resolution 259 and 260?
Motion?
Second.
I thought we were.
Second.
I'm sorry, I thought we were removing them.
No.
Remove them from the consent agenda. We
From
still
the
voting them.
consent agenda, so that's for open discussion. You still got to vote on them,
Okay.
but we have to vote on, Madam Clerk, we have to vote on them separately, so you can't do them together.
Sure. So we have 259. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
And second,
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressi?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
May I have a motion to vote on Resolution 260, 2025?
Motion?
Second.
Councilman Borelli?
Yes.
Councilman Bressi?
Yes.
Councilman Palmieri?
Yes.
Council Vice President Bernstein?
Yes.
And Council President Kuhn.
Yes.
Thank you. At this time, if any member of the public has any comment to make, please address the council at the microphone and state your name and address clearly for the record. You will have 5 minutes and may only speak once. May I have a motion to open public comment?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good evening, Donnie Edelman, Jackson, New Jersey. First, on behalf of everyone from the dog park, I'd like to thank our council president for coming out and listening to us about the improvements that are going to be made at the dog park. The other issue that I come before the council tonight,
Yeah, you can't, there's something with the microphone. We
There's a
can't hear.
mic-
I can't
Yeah,
even
the
hear.
microphone.
Can you hear me now?
10 feet away
Maybe
from him.
because that felt is off.
I don't know if this has got to be on it.
Thank you, Christian.
Can I get a do-over on my time?
Yes.
I don't think I'll need it anyway, but just in case. The reason why I'm here is because I still have problems with my apartment and with my landlord. I addressed this with the council. They said, go to the executive branch. So I met with Mr. Phillips about 3 weeks ago. I thought we had a fruitful meeting. He shows up at my house the following Monday, very early, knowing that, well, that's inappropriate in and of itself. But needless to say, it's 3 weeks later and nothing has been done. I have a public servant that doesn't understand his job and is refusing to do it. I'm not sure where to go from here because I went and, again, I thought we had a fruitful conversation, and he had tremendous resources as the town's ADA coordinator and as the town's affordable housing coordinator. He chose to use none of it and went to my property manager, who has a vested interest in doing nothing for me and a liability because she's already done nothing for me, and took her word for it. And then with everyone that knows my history with this and the fact that I was left in a lurch, he decides to bring Cheney to my house to cause a legal problem for me. And I do know it was manufactured because, well, I could hear everything that went on in that building. So you got another problem there. But either way, it's not up to him whether he wants to do his job. It's not up to him whether or not he feels it's appropriate. And more importantly, he has to do his job based upon facts, not, I gave him my side of the story, and I asked him, I said, look, you have the ability to look up everything on your side. He tells me that my community doesn't have any sort of handicap accessible units. And I hate to put it on the spot. President Kuhn, being a real estate and checking out my property online, does my property offer handicap accessible units?
Yes.
All right. I know you haven't been to my unit, but I used to be in a wheelchair, and I guess the main factor seemed to be in Mr. Phillips' head about having grab bars that were taken down last year that weren't put back up because, well, that's just another thing. But I think my toilet and my rent and all this other stuff is a lot more pressing than grab bars. But that was I guess, what held up Mr. Phillips. And I don't have anything else being done. I got a court date for the crime they manufactured because between him and Cheney, they figured the easiest way to get rid of me is to get me out of my apartment, theoretically maybe out of Jackson. And they were dumb enough to put this on someplace where I have access to the recording. But I need help. He doesn't want to do his job. What I plan on doing is I'm going to type this all up in a very clear and concise email. I'm going to send it to each and every one of you. And if he refuses to do it, I think drastic action must be taken. This man is showing very poor judgment by not utilizing the resources as his position entails. All right, because why should he take my word or my property manager's word when he clearly has access to it? The state knows that it's affordable housing. I even have old leases that say, handicap accessible housing. I have an old lease that says I have a handicap accessible unit, but he was too busy manufacturing a crime in cahoots with my property manager. Either way, I still need the help. I don't want to live with mice in my house. And, I was working on this with Mr. Wall, and I don't need to be told how benevolent he is by meeting with me and how he feels that he's going above and beyond by meeting with a resident who's obviously been abused by somebody in the system. I could tell you that it just shows a tremendous amount of poor judgment on his behalf, and he shouldn't be trusted with the town's anything. I mean, I wouldn't trust him with a wet paper bag, let alone finances and the millions of dollars and everything else like that. I tried addressing my issues I have with the police, and his response was, I went and I started, what was it? I went looking for trouble. Is that what you said? Is that what you told me that I said? I went looking for trouble. My constitutional rights are not looking for trouble. When I go to you and say the police are breaking the law, it's not up to you whether you like it or not to do something about it. It's up to you to do something about it because they are breaking the law, and Internal Affairs is not willing to do it, even though we've proven that the crimes that I am accusing the police of doing, 6 police officers were fired last year or allowed to resign because it's toll theft. We have police stealing. No matter what, the police above and beyond shouldn't be stealing. All right. And when I go to document it, my buddy back there sicks his dogs on me. I send you guys an email, and the very next day I got 5 cops showing up at my house to give me 5 tickets on his orders. All right. And he knows it's so baloney that the officer who wrote the ticket.
Sir, your time is up. I'm sorry. We did set it back.
You did. Have a great night.
Thank you.
What happened there?
Good evening, Lisa Holman, Farmingdale Road. I'm here tonight speaking about a huge concern that affects all Jackson Township residents. Our town council has an ethically bound role in land use and developmental decisions. It all begins with you. Building and development, as you are all aware, and that we're all aware of as well, must serve the best interests of an entire community. The impact of mass widespread deforestation happening in our town, as I said, is a huge concern. While development and infrastructure projects may require some level of tree clearing, residents, developers, and township officials must fully understand the long-term consequences of large-scale deforestation. Within a densely populated town, where home foundations, wells, and septic systems can be adversely impacted by drainage problems and an increased risk of property damage, flat land is not safe from compaction and drying when shade and root systems are lost. Trees are a vital part of our local water cycle. Trees absorb rainwater. They reduce the runoff and allow that water to slowly infiltrate the soil and recharge underground aquifers, which many of us rely on for our well water. When thousands and thousands of trees are ripped out, removed, the natural filtration system is disrupted. The rainwater, instead of being absorbed gradually, runs off rapidly across bare land, causing erosion, and increases the evaporation rates from the soil and carries pollutants into our waterways. Water quality is absolutely vital for life. This runoff doesn't just damage the landscape, it directly impacts our wells. Tree canopies and forest floors act as filters that capture the pollutants before they can reach our water supply. Again, interrupting this natural filtration process, it leads to a heightened likelihood of pollutants entering our water supply. Also, without the tree roots which hold the earth's soil together to stabilize and recharge it, the water table can drop. Homeowners like myself and my neighbors who rely on our wells may find our water supply reduced, contaminated, or in some cases, running dry altogether. There's also local climate to consider as well. Fewer trees means higher temperatures, lower humidity, and increased wind. Speaking on the impact of lower humidity is another issue for another night. But for every action, there's a reaction. These developers who you have allowed to come into our town and decimate our town, our trees and living systems, if and when the destruction is allowed completion and/or wells and water systems are damaged, become polluted or compromised, who's going to pay the money? Which one of you is going to pay for the problems that your decisions could possibly cause or will cause? There will be no easy way back to balance. This outrageous assault on Jackson is reprehensible. As a tax-paying resident for 39 years, I demand town council, township officials, and these developers take a hard look at the true cost of ripping out thousands and thousands of our trees and not replacing them. Again, balance. Balance. Why? Why are you allowing this? Why? I'm demanding responsible development and stewardship from you. Jackson is being decimated. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
I want to follow that. First of all, you didn't answer my question. I was trying to figure out where the $500,000, why it never got spent.
Collectively?
Back then. Don't answer that now, but that was what I was trying to get from you.
It's on
I
the,
knew where you were spending the money. Why it didn't get spent.
on the
by
back of the
project.
page in the pamphlet, it's on there.
So what I really want to talk about is to kind of piggyback off Mr. Borelli's comments about the ordinances that were introduced tonight as first reading. Mr. Bernstein knows I've been at every council meeting, at every planning board meeting involved with the master plan. I spoke at probably most of them. I listened to the presentation that was given last week. Honestly, I can tell you, I wasn't pleased with it. I don't think it provided enough information to the residents, especially based on the amount of time and effort that you guys put into it. So don't get me wrong. You guys spent a lot of time, and I understand it. These three ordinances, okay? And the reason I'm questioning it is because during the presentation of the planning board presenting the master plan, they showed a map where they felt there were perfect spots to develop exactly what is being written in these ordinances. And those spots were all on the northern side of Jackson. She just came on Farmingdale Road. One of them was on Farmingdale Road. The other, it looks like it's on Chandler around there, somewhere in that vicinity. One thing I want you guys to understand before you go and allow these types of builds in that area is the infrastructure that needs to be completed before these builds, okay? Farmingdale Road comes into Jackson Mills. So does Chandler. They're maybe 25 feet away from each other. It's a 5 corners. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna have the county do? We already know, based on the county's presentation last week or 2 weeks ago, that it takes them almost 2 years to get anything done after you ask for it. So what are we gonna do? Are we out there asking them now, hey, we are looking to do this. What are you gonna do for that intersection? And I'll call it Johnny Irons. I don't know how many people understand it. Mr. Bressy does. I'm not sure anybody else does, but I know he does, and I do. That's how long we've been here. But that's the kind of things that when you see these ordinances, I look at and go, yeah, you can write this ordinance, but do you understand what it means? Do you understand what the impacts are? What needs to be done before you allow all of this to happen, okay? Because to me, if you're telling me that these are based on the planning board discussions, my question then becomes, because the planning board passed the master plan, is that final, or do you guys have a say in it?
Could I answer for a second?
Absolutely, please.
So the council does not vote on the master plan. It was our understanding. The planning board adopted 2 things, the master plan and the affordable housing plan. The thing you're referencing is actually the affordable housing plan, not the master plan, with the color-coded different areas in town that are going to have different areas of density. And the streets you just mentioned are actually not in these ordinances that were
Okay,
introduced
well,
tonight.
that was actually one of my other questions is you put block numbers and everything? Most people don't know block numbers. Can we have ideas?
So by the next council meeting, when after the first reading, the planners and the affordable attorney will be here. This is just introduction, and they'll be here to hopefully put maps up and elaborate on them more.
Okay, but again, I'm piecing things together, and I'd rather get out in front of it before.
And if I could just answer your last question about the county. So the process is that once the master plan was adopted, which was adopted, what was it, 2 Mondays ago? I think you're one of the 5 or 6 residents who were there.
Yes.
The attorney and the affordable attorney sent the master plan over to the county engineers and stuff. They've been waiting for it for 19 or 20 months, and now they're in the process of reviewing it.
That's okay, but as a council, if you know where things are, if you know that we're going to start building affordable housing, and those are where the developable sites are, we have to start thinking about, okay, what has to come first? It's not the buildings, okay? The buildings should come last. The road structure that we need, okay? I can tell you, I'll give you a classic example. We now have a new light on Bennett's Mills Road and Frank Applegate Road. 1 o'clock this afternoon, I was coming up Bennett's Mills Road. I sat at that light for 3 cycles. Why? How did that happen all of a sudden? On Bennett's Mills Road, I'm sitting for 3 cycles? It's supposed to improve it, not create a backlog of cars waiting to move along that road. So those are the things that, and this is the one thing I hate with all the traffic studies.
Sir,
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
Thank
you. It stopped beeping, Christian. Okay. Well, maybe just ding dong or something. Thank you.
Ray Toner, Jackson. I've donated hundreds of hours for our Jackson Day event. We circulated a brochure. I raised a record amount of money based upon what we're going to have for the event. Today, we're 30 days away. I'm uncertain of actually what we're going to have. We usually get the contracts negotiated early in the year because the vendors have a tendency to raise prices as they go into their prime season. I'm told, based upon Mr. Phillips empowered a employee of the township to go out and approach all the vendors and try to renegotiate all their contracts. Right now, we don't have a drone show. We don't have the main event, which would be the actual ATV dirt bike exhibition race. Asking a vendor to lower their price to where they lose money for an event is not going to get us an event. Emails went out saying that employee is now in control, basically, and they have to speak directly to the employee, which is not a Jackson Day committee member. We spent 8 months, hundreds of hours putting this together, and I'll be honest, I can't tell you what we're having. It's 30 days away. And it's the first time. Usually we're going down the home stretch. I can be honest. I mean, I probably represent a large portion of the event, the amount of time I put into it. I've had no communication from Mr. Phillips. I've reached out multiple times. I don't know what's happening. And the vendors are very upset about what's going on.
I'm going to ask that, I guess, Councilman Borelli, you are on the Jackson Day Committee. If you could give an update along with the business administrator, but you as the, the main chair, if you could please update.
Okay, I thought it was a go, Mr. Cantino. I didn't know that.
No, the drone show guys almost, I've given them other business. They were kind enough to keep the price the same.
Right.
It's 40% below the current market. The ATV race, or if I had to go get an out-of-town race, it would be almost 2 to 3 times the cost of what our in-house pro racer is going to do the show for. He was actually asked if he could reduce the price to where it would be a guaranteed loss.
Councilman, can you answer any of his questions?
I
as
can. I mean,
the
so
chair of the Jackson Day Committee?
We can work with Mr. Phillips and administration to make sure.
We had a great radio advertising package.
You've put in thousands of hours both 2
Correct.
years. you will never get that you have not worked and getting. Now, in regards to, anything, he is the chair. You know the situation. So, but I will be the first one to say that you have worked harder
Thank
than
you.
anybody else on the Jackson
And
Day. And I've said it before. I've been
come
very
to
transparent with you.
You've handled some of my problems.
And I always will.
And I greatly appreciate
Council
that as
President,
well.
Thank you.
We put on a summer camp program with the same individual and he
I know.
wasn't getting paid. You took care of it and I thank you very much for that.
You are welcome, sir.
Mr. Catoner,
But all of a sudden now he seems to be targeted and he's trying to renegotiate the whole contract. I don't even think he's going to make money at the price that he's willing to do the event for. And to have him come back and ask him to accept less and then change the terms, he's putting on a racetrack. There's a caveat in the agreement that said, let's say both rain dates get out. He's out of pocket an estimated $5,000. So we asked that we would be reimbursed at least $4,500. We had a complaint, lowered it to $2,500, where he would actually still lose $2,500. And that's not acceptable, apparently, by the employee who's now taking control of Jackson Day.
So,
Mr.
before your time, go ahead.
Mr. Catoner, I just want to respond to you also for 1 second. Last year, last year I served on the committee with you, and you were a pleasure to work with. And I think I called you by one of the previous meetings, Mr. Jackson Day, because you really put a lot into that. Would you be able to, after the meeting, to wait a minute and give us some of the names of the vendors so I can talk to Mr.
I'd be
Phillips?
happy to, because the drone show guys, honestly, he's 40% below market.
Yeah.
He charges an average of $8,000 to $9,000 more. All right. He has the caveat, the same exact contract we signed last year. To this year, it's not acceptable. If he brings his people to the event and it gets rained out, and then the rain date gets rained out, he's out of pocket for paying his employees.
Stay behind
Stay after the meeting.
stay after the meeting.
I will do so.
Thank you,
so
sir.
much.
Again, and thank you.
Anyone else?
Do you want me to bring the microphone to you? Okay. You're welcome.
I don't think I heard Mr. Revere.
My name is Paul Revere. I'm
Sir,
Paul.
sir, she's
was on her way up.
before you. I apologize.
Val Tudor, Right to Bow Road. The reason I'm here, a couple weeks ago, you guys approved a new ordinance or law or whatever you want to call it for rentals and landlords. What I was looking for this evening on the agenda was an update of that. I'm assuming that you're all aware that the Immigration and Nationality Act was updated by our government and approved on August 3rd. In that, it was a lot more specific about what needs to be done. It says, two of my favorites involved in that updating, the amendments, was 1324 and 1324A, and I'm only paraphrasing, but it said sheltering, harboring, renting to, transporting, and employing illegals will subject the person doing so to fines, persecution, and seizure of assets. Basically, what it said in the Jackson-generated one is that the landlord will check out their tenants. Under what criteria, I don't know. Are they breathing? I guess that's sufficient. I don't know. I voted for Trump not because I particularly like the man. I voted for Trump because one of his #1 priorities was getting rid of illegals. And the reason being is they cost this state a hell of a lot of money. I found an interesting document online called A Nonpartisan Report on the Cost of Illegal Aliens to New Jerseyans, dated May 7, 2024, by 10th District Assemblyman Paul Kinitra, regarding Ocean and Monmouth counties. Illegals cost us $7.3 billion in 2024. Illegals paid $1.3 billion in taxes. So guess what? We're $6 billion in the hole for the joy of having illegals in this state. Cost per person is $1,600. Cost per household is $2,100. It costs us over $6 billion to educate their kids. And let me remind you, last I was informed, we are $18 million in the hole in Jackson for our education. And you can't put the blame for all that on the S2 formula. Okay, I hear numerous complaints from neighbors in and out of our town about LLCs buying up houses, installing illegals in them, providing jobs, enabling them to pay off the mortgage of the LLC. I hear this repeatedly, excuse me. My opinion, where there's smoke, there's fire. And according to the INA, actual specific knowledge is not required to report this condition to ICE. There's enough videos on YouTube and Instagram and everything else by residents in this town that are disgusted reporting the same situation. I'm sure that you're aware that under Trump, twice as many Jackson residents voted for him. Here again, I doubt it's because of his charm and personality, but we want the illegals out of Jackson. Now, in my opinion, what I think I'd like to see Jackson doing is complying to the federal law, because that what takes precedent. An updated landlord responsibility ordinance incorporating the current amendments in INA. I think it would be wise to inform the business community that no longer will their hiring of illegals be tolerated in this town. I'd like to see Howell's resolution 2581 adopted by Jackson. This is paraphrasing again. Even though Phil Murphy's AG, Gerber Gruel, I apologize if I didn't pronounce that badly.
Now it's Matt Placken, and he's worse.
In 2018 declared New Jersey a sanctuary state. I did not vote on that. I don't think anybody did. He just put a directive out. Okay, my opinion is LLCs, businesses, politicians are using this directive to do what the heck they want to benefit themselves. Phil Murphy himself in several different news reports bragged about having an illegal living over his garage. Here again, just like Howell in Newark, they're working on getting legislator to limit the amount of LLCs buying in their towns. I'd like Jackson to be proactive and get on board with this too. So my question to you, gentlemen and ladies, is do you represent us or not? I'd appreciate some feedback because I've held up several letters that I'm writing. One to Nick Adams. He sent one out in a mass mailing last week, slated to be the next ambassador from Malaysia. He wants to know if I think sanctuary towns and states are entitled to federal funds. I really don't. But if I answer honestly to that, I'm screwing Jackson over. I understand why businesses like illegals because it saves them money, but there's no benefit for me. When was the last time one of you drove by a housing development and the sign out front said, hey, these houses will go for $700, but because I hire illegals, I'm letting them go for $425. I've never seen that. Like I say, I live on Social Security. I don't make a lot of money. I'm very concerned about the cost to me and my family, to my residents. We're struggling here. We seriously are struggling. Our property taxes keep going up. We're #1 in the country, by the way, in case you didn't know. I'm so proud of that. #1 in property taxes. Hooray. That's all I have to say. I would like, here again, I do a lot of research because I'm retired and I don't get out much because it's very painful for me. If someone would want my help in helping you do something, you know, as far as researching something for you, I'd be more than happy to. I have the resolution from Howell.
Ma'am, I have to stop you.
Yeah,
just
I
'cause
know
we're
that.
being-
I have a resolution from Howell.
Officer,
We'll get it.
we'll have an
Ma'am,
officer because
ma'am,
you can't come
the
up to the
cl-
dais.
The clerk's getting it.
The clerk will grab it. Thank you, ma'am. We greatly appreciate that.
Paul? Anyone else?
I'm sorry, I'm good. No, I'm not. Thank you, sweetheart. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Janice Solero, Jackson, New Jersey. I don't know how I could top her, but my issue, as well as many Jackson residents, because I get emails and messages from people all over Jackson I don't even know, is about the LLCs. Okay, one in question, 71 East Connecticut Concourse. Rats. I've had pictures of rats in cages sent to me. This has been reported to code enforcement throughout the years. I know Jenna G, Grizella, whatever she was, she's reported it several times. There's tenants going in and out, loud music, parties, people going in and out. There's a pool, tarps hung up so nobody can see. I'm a 33-year resident. I could go on and on. Here's another one, room available in Jackson. I called. I have the number here. It goes to the landlord, 103 Spruce Street, Lakewood. Since when are tenants not screened A? There should be some type of criteria. I was a renter back in the day. I know I've reiterated this story before. It seems like these LLCs are a big issue in Jackson. There's several to a home. There's no criteria, no TRW checks, no jobs. A lot of them are illegals. A lot of them are LLCs. One of them is Infinity Land in Brooklyn, New York. Another one is Imperial. Here's another address, 391 Diamond Road. Pool is like wide open. Anyone who has little kids in the neighborhood could just stroll right over. I mean, whoever the landlord is, I think that one may be Infinity. They'll be sued. God forbid a child drowns. There also was land cleared that was never cleared before there. That's the tenants doing that. And the doozy of the week was 592 Ollie Burke Road. parking for 50 cars, babysitter if needed, pool rental. I mean, I drove by, I've never even been in that part of Jackson. It's actually a beautiful area. I was amazed that I've never seen this area. This would never go down in that neighborhood. It's an extreme, quiet neighborhood. Somebody messaged me yesterday, I don't even know, 5 homes on Frank Applegate was just bought by an LLC. Not sure how true that is, but my kids grew up here. The comments you heard us before was a great neighborhood. It actually was, and it still should be. Everyone has a right to move here and live here. As far as rentals, there's got to be something done about it. There has to be a criteria set. Like I said, I was a renter and I was like driven through the mill about where I work, how much I make, month and a half security. I did not rent rooms out. I did not have all my relatives move in and live with me. It's disgusting. And a lot of the taxpayers in this township are fed up with it. They are completely fed up with it. So what's going to happen is all us old timers that are here, I mean, a lot of us, I keep my home beautiful, upgraded. I don't understand how these houses, half of them, if you drive around, they're disgusting. I took my garage out years back and I had the inspector come in. Nope, wrong size nails. I'm like, you effing kidding me? The stuff that I'm driving around and seeing what is going on in this town, it's mind blowing. Like, you grew up here.
I know.
I mean, hopefully it's not next door to you. It's not next door to me. I'm on this side of town, but Diamond is right around the corner from me. And the other side of town, it's horrific. I mean, come on. There's got to be something done about the LLCs. I just had to go off of what she said. I mean, she has a little more time than I do to research.
Councilman, yeah.
Could I just respond for a second? Would you mind after the meeting giving Mr. Phillips, our BA, the addresses that you just mentioned?
I wrote them down.
You wrote them down?
I wrote them down.
Did you write them down? It's like-
71 West Connecticut, 391 Diamond, 592 Oliver.
Yeah, West Connecticut, that one on East Concord, I heard that for the past few years, people have been going off about that.
Okay.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
wrote 'em
I
down.
feel bad for the taxpayers in that neighborhood.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
And
Anyone else?
Good evening. Chris Pollack, Jackson, New Jersey. Would the members of this council be willing to go on record tonight and state clearly and directly whether you believe that code enforcement is a vital service for the safety, integrity, and quality of life for Jackson Township and its residents?
sir, you could speak and then we'll answer. Thank you.
So, not going to answer. Fine. All right. I'd like to start reading some emails. Tuesday, January 25th, 2025 at 6:22 a.m. from Mordecai Bernstein to former business administrator Terrence Wall. Were we able to get any more info on my questions? Also, were we able to find out if there are any upcoming retirements in code enforcement this year, and if yes, when? Lastly, Mr. Wall, you had mentioned that you would send me over the process that explains how a civil service reduction of force works. Can you please send over and can the process begin? My understanding and research has led me to believe that a cut in code would be fairly simple. Mr. Wall responds, yes, you can't do it. On retirements, there are none pending in the system. Please share your research. If this is an attorney giving advice, they're giving you bad advice, and feel free to tell me that I said so. I don't want you to be manipulated. A memo will be forthcoming, as I shared previously. Why are our top officials attempting to cut back a department they have no authority to control? And if you listen to the residents up here, we need them. I am not understanding why they are being so attacked. Is this an overreach of power? Is this a misunderstanding of your role trying to cut them? Or is it something worse, a deliberate effort to weaken enforcement in this town? Earlier this year, this council passed Ordinance 01/2025 to lower fines for people who don't maintain their properties, which is an issue in this place. Council President Jennifer Kuhn said it was because code enforcement was writing too many citations and clogging up the courts. You later have gone on record attacking code enforcement and claimed they weren't doing their jobs. You can't blame them for writing too many tickets and then later blame them for not doing enough. That's a contradiction, that's hypocrisy, and frankly, it's a lie. You claim they aren't doing their job, but the numbers don't lie. At the end of July, they have brought in $349,030, well on track to surpass last year's numbers of $353,474. Since we're talking about numbers, let's get to the budget. It doesn't take a genius to know that it's irresponsible to manage a town and not have a budget passed by August of that year. What's going on with this budget? And I think I know why. And I think it would shock a lot of people. I have some more emails to read here. From Jennifer Kuhn to Stephanie Marlin. Ms. Marlin, I want to be transparent in sharing that I too do not feel comfortable introducing the budget in its current form. As I have consistently stated over the past 6 months, I cannot support a budget that maintains the current level of funding for code enforcement. The request for over $150,000 in reductions was made in good faith, and I do not believe it has been adequately addressed. Unless these concerns are taken seriously and meaningful adjustments are made, I will not be in a position to support or introduce this budget. Mordecai Bernstein replies at 12:59 p.m. Ms. Martin, this was brought up 7 months ago. I understand your point, but I'm not supporting a budget without cuts to code enforcement. They have been holding up our town budget over cutting a department that they have no right to cut in the first place, a department that stands between our neighborhoods and decline, a department that protects the safety, integrity, and quality of life in Jackson. People of this town need to ask themselves, why would our leadership be so hell-bent on cutting the very department that addresses the majority of issues affecting our quality of life? I know when developers and special interests want to take over a town and have free reign to do whatever they want, one of the things they attack first is code enforcement. Is that what's happening in this town?
Are you done, sir? Oh, no, Councilman. Are you done? I'm not going to go back and forth with you, but I'm going to answer out of respect. I would like to know. Sir, are you going to walk away or are you going to let me respond? Can you let me answer? Because I would like to give you the facts. You want to sit down while I answer? Absolutely, go ahead. But I would like you to stay and not run out the door. That's all I'm asking. Okay. So I just want to go into the facts of what you're saying. And thank you for reading my emails. I appreciate that because as you can see, it's transparency and you're twisting the words and that's okay. I get it.
What words? Those are your words.
We're not doing this. We're not doing this. So I'm going to talk. I allowed you to talk. You're not going to be combative because that's not going to get anywhere. Okay. You can laugh at me. That's fine. But I just want to get accurate in your statements. So the reason why we were going over code enforcement is because the productivity was not there. There was no violations. So we got the violations that we wrote, right, last month and everything that they did. Out of 196 or 139, there was 9 that came from code enforcement. Everything came from council and residents. Why are residents giving code enforcement jobs to do? Why is not code enforcement? You could turn around and do a 360 and find 10 violations. That's not happening. We had to put GPS trackers on their vehicles because we don't know where they were at. There's 40 hours in a work week. They wrote 3 violations. Yes, there was problems. And yes, I do stand behind exactly what I did because I believe that these residents that you're talking about that are having problems with rentals, it's an issue. It's an issue and it is on our code enforcement. It is on our zoning board. We're trying. So you're changing. And I know that you're videotaping me with your guy and you're running, for election. And this is for clicks because you come in an hour late. You come in, you get a prepared speech. You change the words. You got emails, which I don't even know if you Oprah'd. I don't know how you got them, but that's okay because I can take it because I'm not scared of you and I'm not scared of your videos and I'm not scared of your t-shirts, okay? I'm not because I know that I'm doing good for my town that I grew up here. I've lived my whole life here. So if you think I don't see the changes, I do. And that's why we're 10 minutes late on what's happening, 10 years late on what's happening. So we're trying to do the right thing on this council.
So Council President, if I could respond, because Mr. Pollack referenced emails that I wrote, and yes, I stand by them. So I've been coming to council meetings for close to 9 years. There's very few residents in this room who came for 9 years. One of them is sitting in the back. And I disagree with many of the comments that were said over the years. But one thing that I very much admired was the persistence and the understanding of the issues. For many, many years, residents came to complain about various code issues, and yes, illegal rentals. People have the right to put a house under whatever LLC they want, but they do not have the right to rent out the house to multiple families in one house. That's illegal. We don't need a federal law. That is illegal in Jackson law. But the problem is the residents came since the day I've been sitting on this dais. Residents came and been complaining. Some of the residents who I strongly opposed over the years came, they texted me, they called me, Morty, what are you going to do differently? And our power as council is an oversight power. Our power is the power of the purse. That is the power the council has. And maybe you didn't have a proactive council in the past, but we started looking. Yes, I had a problem with code enforcement officers who were taking cars home for 50 minutes during lunch breaks. And when I asked, and again, I don't want to mention specific names because there's certain laws when it comes to personnel. When I asked where the cars were, why they were idling for 2 hours, and why is it that certain residents, and again, some of the residents are here in the back, some of them no longer live here, and some of them residents mentioned the names before, had to send hundreds and thousands of emails over the years about issues that it's not their job to be looking at. And some of the issues I'll agree on, some of them I don't agree on. So yes, I feel that it's time to restructure certain departments in the town. And yes, I'm going to do my due diligence. And part of my due diligence process is to talk to administration and talk to the former business administrator and talk to the mayor who, yes, told me, Morty, yes, I fully agree that code enforcement needs to be restructured. And yes, talk to our former business administrator who asked me, Morty, stop sending emails because emails will be open. I'm not embarrassed of my emails. I'm proud of my emails. Yes, we had a problem in this town. We have close to 2,000 rentals. And I have houses in my own neighborhood where I have friends and neighbors who have emailed the township. And it's been a circle. So finally, we're seeing some productivity, and I'm happy with that. I'm proud of the fact, yes, to answer your original question, I think everyone on this dais supports code enforcement and wants a code enforcement. They want to restructure code enforcement. Every once in a while, change isn't easy. Every once in a while, you have to look and say, are we getting 100 cents in the dollar, or maybe we're not getting 100 cents in the dollar? And my opinion, without talking about specifics, because there are some great guys and women in code enforcement, but my opinion was that we weren't getting our full. So sometimes you have to restructure. Council wasn't looking to gut it when it came to rentals, and the proof in the pudding is that we created an entire new ordinance that would be self-funded to give people whose job is literally to sit there checking on the inspections. And yes, ma'am, in the back, I fully support President Trump, and it's something that we're going to be requesting from our town attorney to look into the federal law and make sure that we are complying with the federal law, because in Jackson Township, we comply with the federal and state laws. And if we have a contradiction between the federal and state law, that's why we have good attorneys, and it's their job to figure it out. So to answer your question, yes, I think everyone on this dais supports code enforcement. And yes, no one on this dais wants to see illegal multiple rentals and multiple rooms in houses. No one wants to see pool rentals. No one wants to see other illegal, inappropriate neighbor behavior going on in neighbors. But not everything is just an easy fix. And sometimes you have to start from the bottom. And our job with the budget is to look at it and say, hey, are we getting everything we want? Are we getting our DPW? Are we getting our police department? And our town's growing, and we have a very large code enforcement. And based on the numbers we had, my opinion is that we're not getting what we deserve.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, sir. Have a great night.
Mr. Pollack, I just want to say, I just wanted to, agree with Council Vice President Bernstein. We do support code enforcement and their efforts in trying to keep our town safe, and particularly dwellings in our town, and with citations and all that. I just think they're just simply understaffed for a big town as ours. So, but
Cutting them deeper sounds absolutely ridiculous.
Thank you.
but we're very grateful about the
Thank you,
revenue that's been
Councilman.
coming in as a result. Thank you.
Now we actually have a longtime resident who actually knows the issues here.
Yes, I know many. Don't start yet. Don't start yet. Get ready. No, it's coming down to a minute. Okay, real quick. You can say, okay. Hope Drew, Jackson, New Jersey. I'm here tonight, not just to speak to council, but to speak directly to the people watching at home. I hope you share this on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, anywhere, because this needs to be spread. On August 18th, the planning board will be hearing an application that affects every single resident in Jackson. I don't care if you've been here for generations, like me, or just moved in. We need to come together, not in our neighborhood versus their neighborhood. Not pointing fingers because it's suddenly happening in your backyard, but as one town, we're now one high school and one community. Here's the truth. The application is a direct result of the settlement that changed our land use ordinances to benefit one community. That is not an opinion, it is a fact. Never before in New Jersey history have we seen a residential zoning laws rewritten to allow a single-family home to be demolished and replaced with a parking lot in the middle of an existing neighborhood. If anyone can show me another example of this in the state, I'll listen. But it doesn't exist, unless you look at the towns that surrounding Lakewood. This property has been operating since 2018 like a commercial facility. It has destroyed the quality of life of the families that live in Brookwood 3. Sometimes it's a school. Sometimes it's a full-time daycare. It's like whack-a-mole. We close them, they pop right back open without any of our approvals. Not one. And here's the most outrageous part of it all. Not one single violation has ever been issued to this house. Instead of stopping it, our town now is letting them come before the planning board to get an official permission to keep doing it. Why? Because the council changed the ordinances for over 58,000 residents. They decided that certain targeted neighborhoods, especially the R9 and the R15, should be allowed to have parking lots and commercial scale operations in the middle of a residential street. This wasn't random, that was deliberate. And let's make this clear, this has nothing to do with religion. It never has. That narrative was spun and created lawsuits and to change our laws. The facts speak for themselves. This has always been about zoning violations. It has always been about the illegally used commercial operations in our residential neighborhoods next to our family homes. The proof is right in front of us. Wait, we're just gonna move on. Ask yourself, commercial auditoriums are now being built on the back of residential homes and are operating commercially all the time. And when I talk about the R9 and R15, and people who might not know what this is, I need you to have a little motion to it. The R9 and R15 are neighborhoods that are like the OGs of Jackson. We're talking about Hartfield, Flair, Robbins Estates, Harmony Farms, all the Brookwoods, my neighborhood, Brookwood 4. Why are these special zones the same ones where unapproved commercial uses have been tolerated for years? If this passes, it sends a loud, clear message. Come to Jackson, break the laws, destroy the neighborhoods, be the worst neighbors possible, and your reward is to get to keep doing it now legally. It's a trophy for bad behavior. No residential zone or neighborhood should be having a parking lot inside the interior, nowhere throughout Jackson, period. The fact that only the R9 and R15 allow it proves that these are targeted zones. This wasn't random. This was written with precision, and to benefit one group's infrastructure needs while leaving every other residential zone protected. That's not neutral zoning. That's not equal protection. And when you design ordinances to privilege one religious community's ability to build a certain neighborhood while excluding every other residential area from the same impact, you are stepping into unconstitutional territory, which we all know. The Establishment Clause doesn't just prohibit government from blocking religion, it also prohibits government from advancing in it. Neutrality means protecting everyone equally, religious or not. These ordinances do the opposite. It carves out special rules for specific zones because of who lives there now or who you expect to live there in the future. That's called targeting zoning, and it's the very definition of unequal treatment under the law. So I'm calling on you today, all of my elected officials that are here before me. It's time to revisit these unconstitutional ordinances that were created outside the settlement. We need to repeal them or amend these ordinances immediately. Don't hide behind the settlement. Don't pretend your hands are tied. NITO voted against them. So there's a proven choice that something can be done. The Constitution doesn't allow target zoning. The people of Jackson shouldn't either. Fix this before August 18th, or you will own the consequences when the first parking lot gets built in the middle of a residential neighborhood, and every R9 and R15 zone street will become a target. So please, come out August 18th. We need people to come out and speak out. Thank you, ma'am.
How are you guys? My name's Adam Heidi. I live in Jackson, New Jersey. And again, I'm here speaking on behalf of the people, the wildlife, and the environment. First, have you guys looked at our zoning map? I'm trying to figure out why our town is accepting any sort of site plans or proposals without actually looking at the environmental map. I mean, New Jersey is so critically sensitive. We have so many pineland barriers. A couple of our regional growth zones are right on that Pineland-Jackson boundary line. A multitude, actually, of our regional growth zones are within the conservation overlay district, right? Right? I believe so. So I'm just trying to figure out how we're accepting site proposals for places we know we can't build. We know there's like extraneous amounts of EP forms that would have to be submitted. Right? I'm not sure if I could speak, but RG3, you know, it's a nice rhombus, and 1/4 of that perimeter is on the Jackson Pineland boundary. And probably 45% of RG3 was zoned out as conservation overlay zone. So right there itself, a letter of intent would have to be submitted to the DEP. Wetland delineation would have to take place. So I'm just trying to figure out, why would we even think about building in some of these places? It kind of sets a bad precedent for the future.
I think we're seeing approval at the zoning or planning, particularly the planning board level, but then there's also approvals that also have to be obtained by other entities as well, which would include, you know, on the county and state level. I think that's what you're trying to, you know, like the DEP, for example, depending on the application and what is being proposed to be built and developed. So it's not just initial, you know, approval here and that's it. They can start building. There's got to be other approvals that have to be obtained as well.
But do you guys get to hold the other boards accountable at all? Right, our zoning board makes either poor decisions and or violation. Would you like to speak more to that?
Well,
Do you have something to say?
yeah, I think maybe, and you've come up a couple of times, it's appreciated.
Well,
I
care about
think
the
it'd be
environment.
best, maybe, if you start attending the zoning board and planning board meetings.
I do.
So first off now,
Mr. Bresci, he did.
when they get an approval.
Which one of you guys are speaking?
I am.
Okay.
When the applicant does get an approval from the planning board, that doesn't mean it's done. He has to get all the outside agencies. He has to get his LOI from the DEP. They got to get water conservation. They got to either get municipal water or well has to be approved. If it's in the Pinelands control it, which is definitely different, and there are controls there. So everything you're saying has to be done and is done. You might not like the answers.
You think it's done, but it's not done.
What the professionals put forward between the applicant and ours is double checked. We have to, they're licensed and they're putting their licenses online. And that's what we have to do. So we do go by that. We do weigh that in these land use boards. I know you may think we don't, but it is.
Speed and laws are in place, right? People still speed, right? It still takes place, right? I know this is the epitome of my point. Yeah, these regulations are in place, but what I'm telling you is they're not being followed. They're not being fully upheld. People aren't fully compliant. I'll give you a perfect example. Right here on County Line Road, somebody cleared out 5 acres based off of an impact statement from 2005. The land was never disturbed since 2005. 20 years later, we got approved 20 years ago. Let's nuke these 5 acres. That's against the law. Everything has a permit. That's against the law. And I have him lying under oath with proof. Could be provided by Google Earth. Like, that's what I'm saying is, yes, there's laws in place, but they're not being followed.
If you think the LOI.
Excuse me, my time. What I'm telling you is that there are laws in place. I understand what you're saying. I'm telling you they're not being followed. And whenever they get brought up, it seems to just get brushed to another department.
If you feel.
Just by the way, the planning board, if people go to the planning board, yeah, let me speak because it's my time. I only have 5 minutes, respectfully, sir.
I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate that. It's okay. I'm just running on the clock.
Right.
Unlike the zoning board meetings that I go to, there's no clock. So I go to them. For instance, this environmental commission, right? Would you guys be willing to introduce an ordinance that mandates all developers, maybe over 1 acre, have to go through the commission? Our commission, you guys offered me,
sir.
You offered me a chair role, which is kind of insulting that something so serious would be taken up by a volunteer.
Thank you, sir.
I
I'll
took
let
up
him
his
answer,
time.
but your time is up. We have other people that are
Okay.
waiting
But
to
if he
speak.
asked me a question, I could respond, right?
No, we have to have the next one. If you want, after the meeting, you guys can have an open conversation, but we have to move on as there's still multiple people that need to speak.
But can I just ask, maybe I don't know the rules. but if
No,
he-
I'll let
if he
him
directs-
answer.
If he directs something,
Oh,
if he directs something to me, I should be able to answer,
He's
correct?
not going to direct anything to you. He's just going to answer your question. He's not going to ask you a question. Councilman, please don't ask him a question. Because his time is up.
Mr. Bresci, listen to mommy.
Excuse me?
I said, Mr. Bresci, listen to mommy.
That's not appropriate. Thank you, sir.
I apologize.
I thank you.
First off, there are ordinances that require applications to go to the Environmental Commission. And if it comes in front of the Planning Board or the Zoning Board, and it is not approved by the Environmental Commission at that point, then they're normally told, if it doesn't get a letter of no concern from the Environmental Commission, they must come back in front of that board. That's been in process for over 20 years. Also, if you have a problem that you think the LOIs or the DEP is wrong, you can go to those agencies and question them, because they supply the LOIs, we don't.
No, they uphold things pretty well. The hotel that they tried to build, near Venture Crossings got shut down thanks to the DEP. The DEP does their job. We're just not.
Thank you,
we're just
sir. We
letting
really
things
need to
bypass
move on. There's
at a
people that are
local
waiting.
level. We're letting things
Thank
get
you.
passed by local level.
Okay.
And I'd appreciate if all of you guys, especially if you were residents, just had
Sir,
some integrity.
I'm gonna have
I would
to-
appreciate if you had some
Sir.
integrity relative to
Please.
the environment. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for having some integrity in the choices that are made for our town. I sincerely appreciate you, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Paul Rivera. I'm on West Governor Boulevard. I want to thank you, Adam. Jenny, you said you grew up in Jackson. I didn't.
Yes, sir.
Adam grew up in Jackson, and he played on the Jackson soccer team, and he went to Rowan University and got his biology degree. And he's here to help. And he's here to
Absolutely. We
improve
just
things.
wanted to give you time to speak. So thank you, sir.
I'm very happy that he's here, and I'm very happy he grew up in Jackson.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Mr. Bresci, and I'm not doing a cheap shot. I'm just because that's not me, and you know me. Mr. Bresci, if you described what's supposed to happen with these site development plans. They're supposed to have everything done. The engineer for the township does a checklist, says, okay, everything's here. You can go before the board. But unfortunately, that you were implying that that's what happens in this town. Unfortunately, Mr. Bresci, that's not what happens in this town. Okay? What would you do if you were a neighbor and the zoning board engineer colluded with the applicant to tell the zoning board that, oh, they got everything? You can hear this. And then you found out they don't have anything. That is fraud. And that is denying the residents their ability to know and to be transparent. So please, you can describe how it should be, but please don't say it always happens here in Jackson. It should always happen. But my experience is the opposite. Okay, now let's talk about the environment. Okay? Some towns have a good, reputation for the environment, and some don't. And I have to say, Jackson has a terrible reputation. Adam is 100% correct. This lady here is 100% correct. And I'm experiencing it firsthand too, by people saying they got DEP approval and they don't even have it. And people who are, the DEP is investigating them backfilling the wetlands, okay? And all before everybody's eyes. No, it's like hear no evil, see no evil. Okay, now when I had a friend who's been living here for 25 years, bring me over to an area that was clear cut. It had to be like 20 acres. Clear, how do you do that? Huh? Oh, how do you do that? Now he was telling me all those critters, all those animals, the foxes, luckily, I guess a way down the road, there was an Ocean County preserve. He said he saw all the animals double there. So that whoever did that, whoever clear cut it, destroyed the habitat and the trees of all illegally. Now, you can't be doing that kind of stuff without permits. But, in this town, I don't see outrage. Jenny, I don't see outrage from you. You live here. You brought up here.
Sir.
And I wonder, what the hell, what happened?
I'm not
Where
laughing at
is
that.
the
I'm saying if you
outrage?
don't see an outrage, I think my emails that they have been read have shown that I'm extremely.
Okay, so I don't have much time. I'm not going to go into the red. 1,000 affordable housing units. I get the impression you guys like that. Most towns are saying they'll fight tooth and nail against that. And there's a lot of ways to solve that. First of all, you got to get your engineers. Look at the wetlands and the pine lands and all the undeveloped property here that you can preserve. And you can say, listen, show me where we're going to put these things. The whole township is environmentally sensitive. And that is, in Millstone, we use that. And that's how we protected our town. You said you can't do that. It's environmentally sensitive. In this situation, you're seeing people clear cutting. And nobody says anything. If it was, let me tell you something. If I was somebody and I drove down the road and I saw a huge area clear cutted, I'd be talking to the police. That's what I'd be doing. All right, so there's ways to reduce this 1,000 affordable housing, right? First of all, you say, hey, listen, this is an environmentally sensitive area. We
Thank you,
can't
sir.
fit all that. Okay, and then one more thing.
Thank you,
gave other
sir.
people. Your budget has $35 million for salaries. Now, am I correct that all those people report to the mayor? And he's responsible for all
He's
those people?
administration and our business
So
manager.
why are we hiring 4 more people to do LLC monitoring when we already have people in place? It's a management problem.
Yes, sir, I agree, but your time is up, and yes,
All
I'd be
right.
more than happy to discuss that with you.
Council President, could I ask one question?
Absolutely.
Mr. Martin, hold on one second. Mr. Dasty, if residents feel that a professional lied under oath by a planning or zoning board meeting, what's the recourse that they have? Because
Take to the prosecutor.
if residents come to a planning board or zoning board meeting and they feel that professionals, I'm speaking, please hold on 1 minute. And they feel that that professionals, and they claim to have proof that the professional lied under oath. What recourse do they have? Like, could they send it to council? Like, what's the investigation process?
A couple of things. I think the gentleman was talking about fraud.
Sir,
Excuse me.
listen, you have to stop doing the outburst. You have to let the attorney talk, and you have to let counsel talk.
I think
It
they
is
should.
not screaming
Thank
from
you.
the background, because
I think
that's a
that-
rule. I think let's just let you know right now, I'll put them on the board for next time so that you know the rules. Kuhn, thank you,
I
sir.
think the gentleman over here was talking about, if not illegal, something fraudulent for sure. If you think that there's something fraudulent going on, you should either speak to the administration, speak to the police department, speak to the prosecutor's office. You always have the right to appeal a decision of the zoning board if you think it was, improperly and fraudulently procured. So if you think that there's anything like that going on, it seems to me you have an obligation to report a crime.
Sir, you're in the back. He's answering your question, and you're kind of making a mockery of him, and I think it's a little insulting.
So there's a lot of
Yes, you with the hat. So if you could please listen to him. He's answering your question. We stopped everything so that he could answer your question.
So if you believe there have been some sort of fraud between a professional on the board and an applicant or something, it could rise to the level of a crime. But you should bring that up to either the attorney for the zoning board or go to the zoning. You did it here publicly, which is fine. Do it there publicly. Well,
No, he's
who
talking
was-
to the back.
I'm talking to everybody in general. Somebody was asking, what do we do about these improper actions of the different boards? Yes. So That's
Thank
one
you,
of,
sir.
that's one of the many things
Okay,
you can do about
Mr.
it.
Martin?
Report it to
Mr.
someone
Martin,
with
go ahead.
specificity.
Thank you.
Carlos Martins, Jackson, New Jersey. I'm here as a resident. Just for transparency, as you said, so I am on the zoning board, but I will not speak about the zoning board. I can't. So that's not the topic I'm going to cover. What I would like to cover is code enforcement. All the stuff that just came out of Mr. Bernstein mentioned. Probably not going to be in favor of everybody here. For the first
Please,
clap.
Mr. Martin, into the mic,
Okay.
please.
Because I heard the clap, so probably what I'm going to say is going to be against some of you guys. But when it comes to code enforcement, just like any other department that's not running effectively, the answer is never you just throw more money at it. You throw more people at it. That's not how you fix something. You fix it by reorganizing it, by actually cutting the number of people in there so it's more efficient and it's more effective. That's how you fix a problem. I think we all agree that a problem is with, I believe it, with code enforcement. We have a lot of rules. We already have a lot of ordinances on the books. They have to be enforced. And the way we get them enforced is code enforcement doesn't just wait for a resident to complain about it. They go around and they find the issues and they write them a ticket. One of the things the council did was, and I think you guys know this, right? One of the things the council did was they reduced the amount of the fee. So now the criticism is, hey, you reduced the number of the fees of the people doing wrong. But at the same time, one is you're never getting paid that fee. So that was the accumulation of these tickets, which were never getting paid because they were LLCs and we didn't know where these people were. So what the council did was they said, okay, we're going to lower it to 300, but we can now go after the tenants, those illegal tenants, or we can go after the owner because it's easier to go after the tenants. You charge the tenants, they pay the $300, they lower they then don't pay the rent, all of a sudden we got the money. And the landlord is still the one suffering because he's not getting that rent anymore. If that's the situation. Isn't that better? Isn't it better to lower to $300 and now you can go after a bigger population and you go after the people actually living there? Those 8-10 people that are living in one house, now you can go after them. You don't have to go after the LLC because you can't find them anyway. They're living in Florida. I'm talking to everybody, all right? Why those facts?
Mr. Martin, please focus.
Yeah,
Face the
focus here.
council.
To the council.
You're
I
speaking to the council,
apologize.
not to the public.
I am getting a little heated about it because it's just the facts aren't there. It's very easy to say, oh, you're cutting code enforcement, right? You're cutting code enforcement. You're not. You're trying to make it more efficient. You can't throw bodies at it. That's not going to fix the problem. It never has. It never has in any situation. Definitely not in the corporate world and even in the government world. We know that's not. We know you can't just throw bodies at it.
Correct.
And as far as overreach, one of the complaints I had with the council was the communication that you guys did a little while back, where you said you pass ordinances and then your hands are tied. No, your hands are not tied. You have the responsibility, not just the power. Per the code, you read it, you have the duty of oversight of every one of those departments, right? The mayor administers it, but you have the duty to oversight, and you have the duty of the power of the purse. That's why the budget is worthless. It's nothing. It's a pile of piece of papers until you approve it. And you have the right, and you have the duty, not just even the right. If you read the code, you have the duty to overlook that budget and make sure it aligns with the goals of the council. That's written in there in paper. It's not overreach to go to the code enforcement and say, you're not efficient. We need you to be efficient. And so we're going to cut. And then we're going to, if we have to, maybe we rehire, but we're not just going to give you money to sit there and do nothing. That's efficiency. That is Doge.
Thank you,
Anyway,
sir.
thank you.
I agree. Thank you.
Outside.
Yeah, we're almost over.
Another resident question after.
No, you can't go back. You guys can sit by each other and talk, but we can't have an open forum. Thank you, ma'am.
Deb Jones, Jackson. I have a few different things to talk about. First, I would like to thank Mr. Borelli because if I'm understanding it correctly, you said that you guys just got the paperwork on the affordable housing.
Yeah.
Then I'm sorry, anyone who voted yes, you didn't do your due diligence and you weren't transparent. Because how are you transparent about something if you haven't read it through? And just because someone votes no, doesn't mean it's never going to happen.
Can you stop the clock? Can you stop the clock? Because I don't want
Why?
to take from your time.
Can I respond?
I just want to, so every single ordinance that we get when it's a first reading, we all don't get to read it before we come and put it on. That is the way that the process
Council
procedure
President-
works.
I understand that.
So there's no difference than these ordinance than the previous ones. There's absolutely zero
Council-
difference.
I understand
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
If I just
Go
want to
ahead.
add to that also, council all received in their mailboxes in the clerk's office over a week ago, the affordable plan. I can't speak for my colleagues, which of us went and picked it up and which of us didn't. We always receive first readings of ordinances on our
handled,
draft
yeah.
agenda, either Thursday or Friday, and that's just a normal process.
Okay, can
Thank
we
you.
roll my
We can
time?
continue the clock, and I won't
Because-
interrupt you again, but I felt that
But now
compelled
you're
to let you
bringing me to
know.
my next point, something as a taxpayer and a citizen in this town. And yes, Mr. Bernstein, I am a lifetime resident here, but I don't care if someone's been here 10 minutes. If they're paying taxes in this town, they have a right to say what they need to say. And I am tired of every meeting after meeting after meeting. There's a dig at somebody all the time. If you're really transparent, you don't need to keep telling people you're being transparent. If I'm not going to be a liar, you're going to know that because you're going to be able to check the facts and know that I'm not lying. I don't have to keep telling you this is not a lie. I am so disgusted if somebody disagrees with what you think you want, they almost get a beating or a reprimand. That has to stop. We voted for him so that he could stand up for what he decided. Well, I don't understand why we have to be put in our place because we voted no. Thank you for voting no. Because you know what? We do have affordable housing in the town. And maybe I understand, and I get it, Mr. Palmieri, we have to by the state, but we also can take a step back and say, yes, we have affordable housing, but something has to give. And as far as what you said about LLCs and people, multiple families living here, well, as someone who's lived here my whole life, this is a new problem. This is not a problem that's been going on for generations. This is a new problem, and it's been since the housing market has been being ripped to shreds because people are coming in with more money. I don't care who you are. You want to live in this town? Great. But if the town attracted you because of the way it was, there's a reason for that. Because the people that have been here or are moving here for the right reasons, it's because they love the town. They love what it has. I don't understand. I drive around this town. I see nothing but empty warehouses. I see houses that have 150 cars in their driveway. And I say that lightly because it's not their driveway, because there's no driveways around here that are fitting all those cars. It's just something that you want to be fair to everybody. Keep this town to what we put into it. It was our blood, sweat, and tears that have gone into it for years. So people coming in, they need to align to what was here, not that we have to align to what they want to bring in. It's not fair. I'm tired of it. On top of that, you have Harmony Road. There's a housing development going in there. There's a ton of houses going up. That road is a battlefield. You try to drive between Hyson and County Line Road, you might as well have a tank because that's what you need. The road is so ripped up, torn apart. There should not be one resident in that housing development until our road is put back to the way it should be. You guys have to start making better decisions. It has to stop being tit for tat, and I want to do this and I want to do that. I don't care what you guys want. I want you to do what we need you to do. That's all there is to it.
Thank you.
Seeing no one else come forward, make a motion to close public comment.
Motion. We only allow, the rules are up. It's only allowed one time around. Thank you. But if,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? May I have a motion to adjourn meeting?
Motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. Meeting adjourned.